Hi everyone, the following video is a recording from our 51st overall Artist Feedback AMA session and our 27th session featuring all genres of photography. This session was hosted by the always wonderful and talented Mike Schmidt and Subodh Shetty. We want to thank Mike and Subodh for their time in reviewing 11 different NFT collections and editions and providing really incredible feedback for the curation and creation of your NFT collections. We also want to thank all the artists that submitted their work for review and everyone that was able to attend. We hope you find this session as helpful as we did, and with that, let's go on ahead and get into it.
Today we have a special guest, Subodh Shetty. I don't think he needs much of an introduction. Most people know Subodh. I actually heard recently that if there's a Twitter space going on and you're not hosting or co-hosting, it's actually not a real space. Is that true?
Uh,
Hope people just giving you
that's
too much hype. Too much hype.
too much hype it is.
I just want to say I heard the same thing, Subodh.
It's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah. Were you in
yeah,
two spaces at one time, or was that like an exaggeration from
that's definitely an exaggeration. I don't even know how to enter Discord. I am very bad with technology.
I
I
see you
not
at
figured that.
home. I see you at home, and you have like 3 or 4 laptops or workstations around you, and they're like hooked up to different internets, and like you're in different chat spaces all at the same time. You're like trying to listen to all of them and jump in and provide info needed. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
how cool would that be?
Yeah, that would be yeah. That
I
wouldn't
actually
be good.
laughed. Sorry, I was gonna say I laughed so hard. Did you see the one that Omid put of Subodh teaching his cat Angie how to speak, and she's really the one in spaces with us?
Oh my God, no, I didn't see that one. Didn't go that deep. That's funny.
No, she's the one to close the space or kick someone out of the space. Those things are up to my cat.
Anyway,
But I
Sabol,
also,
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was gonna
No,
say,
just mhm.
I was just trying to do a little introduction. I guess Sabod's, a photographer, obviously. I don't know if that's before anything else in the space since you do so much, but wildlife photographer, portrait photographer, documentary photographer, and at like some of the highest level at each of those, and also a very big educator in the space. Someone who supports many artists through hosting spaces, and there's something very special about your spaces, as it feels very calm, and it feels very open, inviting, and welcoming to be in a space with you when you're hosting, especially if it's for a drop party or just talking about work. I remember I did a space with you that was about my work, and I don't necessarily like talking so much about my own work, but when it was in a space with you, it felt very very simple and very easy. With you asked the right questions, and so appreciate that. So yes, so Bo does a lot of spaces. It's really, really, really one that many people think about. They think about putting spaces. So, glad to have you here today to talk about it. So, Bo.
You're too kind, Mike. But I really appreciate. But I also want to make an introduction to Mike from my perspective. When I came in January, and when I joined, Mike already was well established, and he was already with doing all this AMS sessions and a lot of threads and etc. So I knew that okay, this person has the voice, and I'm so new. I hope Mike sees me. That was my only hope. Like I hope Mike sees me. I hope he understands what I'm trying to do here, because when you come in, that's the hard part. And Mike was always there. From day one, he's been exactly the same person that he is today. So I just wanted to say that, because for everyone in the space, in this particular room right now, some of them may be new, some of them may be just maybe 1 or 2 months old, and you may feel a little bit overwhelmed or left out and etc. But believe me, this space is there to accept everyone. And with people like Mike and MetaJungle, there's no barriers. It's all open to how hard you work and how hungry you are to reach those goals. So really appreciate Mike. I usually don't get a chance to say this, so I just wanted to use this chance.
Thank you very much, Sabod. And I remember the beginnings. It was about a year ago, and I think you lost your Twitter account. You had to rebuild from
Yeah,
scratch. That was you, right?
yeah, and you are one of the very first person to when I made a new account, it was starting from zero. I remember Satyam told you about my account, and you immediately did a retweet and said, "Okay, go follow Subodh. He lost his account." So those things really, I don't forget things, ever. I always remember those things. So you have always been there. So really appreciate, and being today in the same room, and even whenever you put those appreciating words, I'm like, my God, is this the same mic? So I really appreciate all that.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I think your Twitter's better now than it was. Like it's crazy to think that something that we would consider bad to happen, like losing our Twitter, could maybe be a good thing, right? It's like sometimes take the positive out of the negative. I think you built a new account from the ground up, and maybe you learned some things from that old account. Maybe you followed too many people and you wanted a better curated feed, or maybe you weren't doing as much as you wanted to on that initial account. It looks like you've grown exponentially since then. So that's
No,
really
uh,
interesting. Go ahead.
what actually I learned from losing the account is the value of this Twitter community. Till that point, we hear the word, but we exactly don't know because there's no testing ground. But when you lose and you start again, you are a freshman, and then you get the idea. And now the way people stood for that account, which was a new account, it was crazy. Some people from Turkey, some people from India, and across the world, even including you, all the retweets and support to make sure that whatever was lost is immediately regained. That's the power of community. That's when I realized, my goodness, this place is really a Web3 is not just a buzzword, but actually this is what Web3 is all about. People behaving like humans again, yeah, after all the Instagram and etc.
Yeah, that's true. That's completely true. And this today is actually the our 51st AMA. So it's
Wow.
been 51 AMAs since the first one, and you've been in a few of them, so appreciate that. The first collection we'll talk about today, I thought it was appropriate, is Moments in the Wild. This is the wildlife collection, and this is by Dasha Water. And not only is he an amazing artist, but he's just been really, really alive in the space, like throughout this whole bear market. It's been very supportive, and really awesome guy. So there is a really long piece that he's written in here for the artist statement. Um, and it's Masamara as well. So this is somewhere that you're very familiar with, Subodh. So that's why I figured
He
this
was
is
he
a
was
good
with
one to
me.
open with. He was
He was
with
with
you on
me
this trip.
on that. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. And this was how long ago?
This was, I think, April. Yeah, it was April.
This year. Wow. Cool. So I'm
Yeah,
going to read
this
through
year.
some of this. So I, Dasha Waterbade, am a passionate photographer since 2013, doing travel, cultural, wildlife, macro, landscape, and street arts of photography. I've traveled through forests of India to shoot wildlife in India, but was very tempted to visit Masamara as its epitome of wildlife photography. Masamara is one of the most famous and important wildlife conservation and wilderness areas in Africa, world renowned for its exceptional populations of lion, African leopard, cheetah, and African bush elephant. It also hosts the Great Migration, which secured it as one of the 7 natural wonders of Africa and is one of the 10 wonders of the world. Wildebeest, topi, zebra, and Thompson's gazelle migrate into and occupy the Mara Reserve. From the Serengeti Plains to the south, the to the south, and Loita Plains in the pastoral ranches to the northeast from July to October or later. Herds of all 3 species are also resident in the reserve. All members of the Big Five: lion, leopard, elephant, Cape buffalo, black and white rhinos are found here all year round. Hippopotamus, crocodile are found in large groups in the Mara and Talek rivers. The plains between the Mara River and the Assoit Saria Escarpment. Is that how you say that, Subodh? Probably the best area for a game viewing, in particular regarding lions and cheetahs. You guys can hear me, right?
Yes, we can, Mike.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't want to go through this whole thing, and you guys said I
Yeah.
rugged or something. Okay, there are many large carnivores found here in the reserve. Lions are the most dominant and are found here in large numbers. Spotted hyenas are another abundant carnivore, and will often compete with lions for food. Leopards are found anywhere in the reserve where there are trees for them to escape to. Cheetahs are also found in high numbers on the open savanna, hunting gazelles and wildebeest. African wild dogs are quite rare here due to the widespread transmission of diseases like canine distemper and heavy competition they face with lions, who can often decimate their populations. Antelopes can be found, including Grant's gazelles, impalas, uh, dukiers, and Coke's hartebeests. The plains are also home to distinctive uh, Masaya giraffe, the large roan antelope, and the nocturnal bat-eared fox, rarely present anywhere, rarely present elsewhere in Kenya, can be seen within reserve borders. More than 470 species of birds have been identified in the park, many of which are migrants, with almost 60 species being raptors. Birds that call this area home for at least part of the year include vultures, marabou storks, storks, uh, secretary birds, hornbills, brown cranes, ostriches, long crested eagles, African pygmy falcons, and iliac breasted roller, which is the national bird of Kenya. So, wow, a lot written here to describe what can be witnessed at Masai Mara. So, really sounds like the epitome of wildlife, like he says. So, reading this, what really stood out to me was that he has more than 470 species of birds, but I don't really see many bird photographs coming from the wildlife photographers who visit here. Is that because that would be a lot of time spent trying to get a photo of a bird when you could be trying to get a photo of some of these other beasts, Sabod?
No, actually, doctor, he's a birding guy, so he shoots a lot of birds in India. And even in Masai Mara, he was in my car and he would stop every few minutes just to shoot some bird. I don't shoot birds, but whenever I saw him shooting and I checked out his images, he's got amazing pictures of birds from Masai Mara. Maybe that could be a whole new collection of its own. So I'm sure he has it coming soon.
Wow. Yeah, I just figured that, that you can see birds in so many places. So I would, for me to spend the time to shoot birds at Masai Mara, they'd have to be a special type of bird for me to want to take my attention away from all the other animals that are in that region. But that's interesting that he takes some time to shoot the birds there. We'll have to see some of that. So let's take a look into the collection here.
But before that, Mike, if I can just go to the
Yeah,
description which you already read,
please.
one thing that could be done, it's Loika, it's a very properly curated. They take all the feedbacks that you give. They're never tired of doing it perfect. So one thing that could be done was create paragraphs. It's a huge bunch of words which are lying now, and it looks very kind of overwhelming. It's wonderfully written, but it could be arranged, into paragraphs. And each paragraph, there could be a starting, there could be an ending, something connecting to the collection which has been presented. There could be a bit of work done on that part. It's nothing wrong, it's beautifully written, but it could be organized better, is what I felt.
I agree with that. Into different paragraphs. This is maybe probably four to six paragraphs long, and so.
Yeah.
While reading that, I had a couple of times where I had a hard time with where I was,
Exactly.
like where I left off and what line was next. And I think if it was separated into paragraphs, that would be an easier thing to read. And possibly just seeing it in paragraphs might actually lend for collectors to be more inclined to actually read the whole thing, which is
and also it's a description of a collection, so it doesn't even need that, the starting where he said, I, Dashavata. You don't need that. It could be more poetic, it could be more straightforward without telling that everyone knows that it's you because that's your collection. So it could start at a very beautiful note and end with a concluding note. In between that, all this information in paragraphs, just to make it look more clean, because it's presentation. It's very important.
Yeah, I could probably just start at, I've traveled through the forest of India to shoot I've traveled through the forest of India to shoot wildlife in India, but was very tempted to visit Mexico, as it's the epitome of wildlife, and then just kind of go into it from there. It's a good point.
Yeah,
but yeah, paragraphs would be great. So if we look up here, he's got his Facebook linked. He's got I don't know, what is that? That's the one for Telegram, Twitter. So all the links there, Insta. So that's nice. So a series of 10. There's 10 available. Interesting. It says they're coming soon, which is probably the best time to join an artist feedback AMA. You can get information before your collection is minted. If we look at the top, we have the first three are we've got these silhouetted sunrise or sunset shots. Sunrise, I believe it is, sunrise shots. Then it goes into some more of the beasts, and we have this up close shot is really, really good, right? This fierce one is really, really powerful to me. Cheater with the deer kill. I'm just talking about some ones that really stand out to me. The safest place is kind of a beautiful beautiful moment and idea in that shot. I even love intimacy. Serval cat. It's a beautiful cat. I've never seen a cat like that before. I wonder about how it's presented. The sunset's coming first. You think that's I'm trying to decide whether or not I like them all together, or like if they were separated from each other. But I think it looks pretty interesting as kind of like a triptych of the three of them there. Yeah. The giraffe, I think, is the one that stands out to me the most. Maybe it's because of that. Maybe it's because of that sun flare. I think the titles on these three are a little bit too to the point. Elephant family at sunrise, just kind of telling us what we already know, right? Giraffe with sun flare. I think you come up with more epic and poetic titles for these three. Because if you look down, you have some other titles here that, intimacy at safest place. Those titles for me are better titles. Like you can imagine these being, book titles or just titles to a poem or something like that. Whereas these are, you could, and since it's coming soon, I'm sure you could still edit some of these title names and come up with something different here. But looking at it as an overall collection, there's a lot of beautiful shots here, right? A lot of beautiful silhouetted shots. These colored silhouetted shots, like the close-ups are really, really great to me. Let's open up Cheater with the deer kill.
But before that, Mike, if you can go back, if you look at the overall collection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you look at the overall collection, one thing that strikes me right away is crop factor. Like there are so 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 different crop factors happening in this collection. And some of them are like 16:9. Some of them are original aspect ratio. That lion is almost the Instagram crop that we do vertically. So there's a lot of different crops happening here. Even the cheetah is almost free form. It was just cropped as per need rather than sticking to any aspect ratio. I think this was discussed in the last space with Alpha as well, where it's always better to keep original factor ratio, crop ratio, which is as when you shoot the photo in your camera, this aspect ratio comes along with it. And when you're editing and cropping, you can always lock that crop tool and crop it accordingly. It sticks to the same aspect ratio, because that's something very, very professional. The day you practice that over and over again, and once you build up a portfolio through the years, when they all have the same crop ratio, it's going to look great as a whole. Otherwise, even if you suppose, let's say this collection is being submitted to National Geographic, they would not even consider it, because they are very, very particular about crop ratios. They always stick to that original crop ratio. So that's something that could be considered. Right now, it's a lot of 4 different crop ratios happening in this collection.
Yeah, I definitely stand by that with my collection, Lost in Transit, that every single shot is not just only the same aspect ratio, but I won't even post something. I won't even shoot anything. And while I could take some of the photographs that I took and crop them to be vertical with the same aspect ratio. And they could possibly be stronger because I could remove some elements in that crop that could be distracting. It would take away from when you look at the whole collection as a whole, and every single thing is shot in the same 35 millimeter horizontal aspect ratio. So I am one of those people that when there is multiple aspect ratios, it's a little it's a turn off for the eye, for visually for me, but not only that, to know that the artist didn't exactly shoot that in camera, and with the lock feature in Lightroom or any other crop where you could kind of lock the crop and still keep it that aspect ratio, then as the viewer, we don't really know if it was shot exactly like that in camera. But when there's multiple aspect ratios, like those look like there's like some that are 16:9. This is potentially 4:5 vertical. This is potentially free form, like you said, or 4:5 horizontal. I think it's actually free form. And then, Lion Cubs playing, and then intimacy. These seem like,
original,
like original 35 millimeter style horizontal. So that's a really good point. Actually, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Because it happens a lot of times, because we need to understand that NFTs, we always talk of permanence, it's going to be there forever. Collectors will use it someday in their digital exhibition. Imagine collectors going through all the pictures and everything is cropped in different ways. Let's say there's a screen finally which comes out and says, okay, this is for NFT. We believe photographers do, this crop ratio, and here is the screen. And then again, you can't fit all these pictures because they're all over the place. So it's something we all need to, I think, take care of. It happens in real life as well. Whenever we print a book or we are doing a real life exhibition, we get these pictures submitted, and again we have to go into Lightroom and crop most of these images because not followed. Again, they're all over the place, and we can't do an exhibition with all kinds of crop ratios. So that's something basic. I think we need to all take more seriously, which is crop ratio.
Yeah, that's something that I took into mind a few years ago, where I was like, nope, I'm going to stick with the original ratios, or at least stick with a ratio that cameras actually put out. Freeform to me is like the worst form of crop that you could possibly do, because you're just freely doing anything you want there. And not that there is rules to anything, but to be honest, when it is documentary style work, having a aspect ratio that's a real aspect ratio from real camera makes a lot of sense to me. Now, looking at these, like, overall, I think there's a lot of strong images in here. So I think most of them are very strong. So for me, I'll just point out one that I think for me is the weaker of the bunch.
Exactly.
And I think it's actually Lion.
Right.
I'm right. All right, good, because I don't shoot wildlife, but I could pick this out. Lion Cubs playing at sunrise. Partially, I think it's because there's a shot of play that actually is right under that one. This intimacy play, it's just so much more powerful to me. The light that you have going on, the actual moment that was captured, and it's the simplicity of it, where in this picture, it feels more like, like in street photography, where you're trying to get the shot right, but there's overlapping. So like this tail overlaps this other, what are these? These are lions, female lions,
Other
right?
lioness, yeah.
Lioness, yeah. This is overlapping here, and then there's another line down here that's being overlapped. So but even so, even if it was just the three of them, I don't know that it's a moment. I think it's the angle, maybe. I don't think I know that it's a moment enough that where it would be good enough for me to put in a collection with these, where there's so many strong close up moments. Also, the landscape here is very dull in comparison to some of the other landscapes. So after that, saying that, I'd love to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. You right away picked the image which I was supposed to talk about. For me, curation is everything. When you look at the whole collection, Mike, can you go back to the
Yes.
full set once? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So when you look at this whole thing, like starting from the first, it's just the wow factors. They're all running through all the images, and then we stop at this image which Mike was talking about, and immediately stands out. It's not as strong as other images where there is some absolute great moments happening. They're very much focused. to the moment. In the image which was being spoken, there's a lot of loose ends. It's a little bit, it's in between shot, I would say. And even the lion and the two lioness intimacy, that image. When you look at this overall collection, the colors completely stand out because the editing is totally different on this compared to others, which are more natural. Here it's become a little bit oversaturated. Colors have gone a bit false because that's not how lions look. So there's a bit of color correction which has gone wrong, I think, in this image. So they stand out. These two images stand out. This is a beautiful picture, no doubt about it. But
I
editing
agree.
could have been better.
I think it leans a little towards magenta. So when I look at images, or even so, when I look at images, the first place for color correction, when I first of all, when I see color that meets my eye that doesn't feel realistic, the first place I look is in like white areas. So if you look at the chin on this one here, you could see that there's
Yeah.
some bluish and some magenta happening, and you can see that in here. So in this area too, there's like this fringing of like purple or magenta. So maybe the image needs to be pulled from magenta a little closer toward green, or even so you can grab the eyedropper tool for temperature, and you can put in an area of like the nose here, or a neutral area of color, which will bring it back to an area where there's where the color feels more true to life. Also, the tongue feels a bit saturated for me, and I think the bumping of saturation here is what actually gives me the ability to see these purples and these blue tones that when I'm looking for color correction. So I do think you're right that if you look at this picture just to the left, it feels much more true to nature, much more true to life. If you can get this this color temperature and the saturation in the next shot, then then I think this is an even more powerful shot than it already is. So I'm glad that you pointed that out.
Yeah, because with animals, we all know how lions look. So the color of a lion's skin, if it's a landscape, you can go anywhere you want because sky could be any color you like it to be. It could be pink, it could be whatever, not green, of course. But in lion, we know exactly what a lion's skin tone is. And if you go to the face of that lion, it has the right skin tone, but the body has gone all over the place. The intimacy, I mean.
Yeah, but this one,
image,
this seems truer,
it's perfect.
right?
Yeah.
This is great. And this is maybe the strongest shot in the collection for me.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the I guess they call it the hero. This one is too, if you didn't do the custom crop, and also the color of the blood seems off to me. So
it's pink, not red. Yeah.
Yeah, I would use I would change the hue of, I would just go into reds because everything else looks pretty correct in this, right? The orange eyes, the leopard's fur, the background greens, everything looks correct except for the blood. The blood, so I would just go to hue on only red, and I would pull the hue slider until this looked more bloody red. And you could even play with the luminance too, which is the amount of brightness in that red, to get it to a style where you want it to, however that style you want it to feel. But I think I'd probably move it to like the luminance probably to the left, where it's a bit darker and a bit stronger and more vampiric. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree.
Yeah. But otherwise, the colors on it seem appropriate to me. The other shot in the image when I first looked at it would be where I was like, I don't know if it's as strong, was the last one. I think upon opening it though, I do understand how this is a strong photograph. I don't know if could be shot better at a better angle, or if there could be better contrast between the animals and the landscape, but I do think it's still a good shot. I don't think it's as great as some of the other ones that I pointed out. I don't know what your opinion is on this one.
I feel the same. Again, can we go to the overall collection just to see it as an overall? The whole
you want
collection.
To see it as a whole, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think that's where you get the clear picture. Like first three images, perfect sunrise or sunset. If you can come down, this lion, this cheetah, there's the serval cat, they form a nice set. Then there's a cheetah cub, which is fantastic. Then that intimacy, which could be corrected. then these two images, the one in the top, which is called lion cubs playing at sunrise, which we already discussed, that doesn't
Yes.
fit in anyways. Yeah. And then coming to
Nope.
this last one with the cheetah hunt, this could easily be out of this collection, because they all other images are forming a nice family of pictures. These two are standing out. And among that, this one is an excellent image, but could be a outside this collection. It could be an edition, where you just, it's a very attractive image. So editions, it's the community who comes in, they love such pictures, so that would move anyways. So you could save it up for edition and make the collection very, very, very tight. For me, cohesiveness, as we always speak, is very, very important. And with those two images gone, it would really,
Yep.
really become a very, very strong collection. Because
I
these are the two
agree.
loose images, much wider images. Others are very much zoomed in. It's about
Yeah.
the animal. Yeah.
I agree. The other ones feel a lot more. Either they're the silhouette sunset, or they're
Yeah.
very portrait. And then these two are ones that feel like they have that extra space, and maybe they fit into something else. Like you said, cheetah chasing young deer. I still think it's a great shot. I think it could work outside a different collection or as an addition. Lion Cubs playing at sunrise. I mean, I just don't think that you got the shot on this one, and that's okay because you got so many other great shots at Masamara that it's okay. It's a cute shot if you like it for the house or something, whatever. But as far as in this collection, I think there's much stronger work. I think if this collection is brought down from 10 to 8, and it's the ones that we're talking about there, Lion Cubs playing at sunrise and cheetah chasing young deer. I think this could, and then that you also edit that the intimacy one to be the intimacy one and the cheetah one, where your crop factor isn't a free crop here, but you actually maybe you can get it to the same as intimacy, like this crop, or even if you have to do like the crop of fierce, and it has to be. But I don't know. I think I would like to see these cheetah prints here. And if you could color correct on the pink and get it to more of a real life tone of red blood, I think this will be a solid, outstanding collection of 8
And also the
images.
first two images of sunrise, the horizontal ones, crop factor could be corrected. There's still time. It's not
Yes.
minted. So these two could be replaced with proper crop factor, because it's the sky. It's going to look great. There's nothing to crop. It's just colors. It's not
So
something distracting. It's just adding to the expense.
if you crop this one, we are going to lose an elephant, though.
No, I mean, not crop. I mean, he's already cropped this, right? There's something on the top which he has cropped. The expanse has been cropped to make it 16:9 kind of ratio. If you look at the original, I'm sure there's much more pixels on the top, which could be used.
So maybe you don't lose the elephant, but you just have a different aspect ratio. Makes sense.
Yeah, a proper aspect ratio with the same composition. It could be done in that way.
And antelope at sunrise. So same aspect ratio, I would say, as intimacy.
Yeah. See, it's anyway a bear market, so you don't need a collection of 10. It's much more easier to concentrate on the strongest 6 or strongest 8. It's a bear market anyways. So better to keep it tight, really, really well curated. And that's about it. And even the banner on the top, I would work on that because it feels a little bit too much. So you could use maybe 3 images vertically or something like that and form it much more orderly. It would be much more cleaner, because the one in the corner is being chopped off right now after the elephants. It adds nothing. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think some really solid advice given here. I think that Dash and Water, he's really great with feedback. I think he'll take the feedback. I think we're gonna look forward to seeing this, seeing what he does with this collection, and it's very beautiful collection. So thanks. And if he's here and if he wants to speak, he can jump on the mic and speak. I'm not sure if he is though.
And last thing I want to say I think he's here, Doctor. So last thing I want to say is, it's not just for him, it's overall, you don't have to wait till you drop to come on spaces. You always have to keep that momentum, like it's a momentum thing, it's a consistency thing. So even, I know you're a doctor, you're busy with your work, but even that 1 or 2 days, for instance, MetaJungle space on Monday, MetaJungle space on Friday, like it happened today, twice in a week, just to keep that flow going so that people are always aware that you're coming up with something new, to create the buzz. And whenever you can come and pin up the coming soon poster and make some retweets out of it so that people are aware, because I have not seen him for a while. So it's just a feedback that just be around, when before you're dropping, there should be a proper homework done.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
So, both good evening, Mike. Very much, I agree with all the points, and I take away all the messages you have given to me from the experiences you have over the years. So, thank you very much, and I will make all the changes whatever is necessary. And yeah, I have been out of the space for few months because of my hospital work. Really, it was not possible for me. But as soon as I got opportunity, I am again active and will be active again. So thanks for giving nice opportunity and good feedback.
No problem. I see that you also had a question here that said, is the pricing appropriate? But we can't see the pricing. It just says coming soon.
Yeah, pricing is 0.15 ETH per NFT.
I think it's very fair, right? You have other stuff that you've sold out, right? You have other pieces that you've sold for that price or higher. Is that correct?
Yeah, previously I had an edition, so this was my very first series. As such, 1:1. This is my first one. Previously, I had a edition of water droplet collection. Water droplet.
Oh, okay. So this is your first actual collection now.
Yeah, that is first
Well,
collection.
it's really well done. And I think if you take the advices that we gave you, you come out with your Genesis collection here. Might as well, like Subodh was saying, it's the bear market anyway. So 8 images instead of 10, and then correct a couple of those other things. And I think this is going to do really well at 0.15. I can't imagine that it will last very long, right? Because we're
But one
certainly
thing,
gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
one thing I could say is, also try to play with pricing. Maybe two types of pricing, like that lion roaring and the giraffe, which are the strongest images in this collection, could be 0.3. Let it wait a little, not a problem. Right, collectors will come for it. Meanwhile, all other images maybe 0.15 if you want, half the price of those two images. Just to play with the pricing and make sure that those best images, really get the value they deserve. You could play with the pricing also.
Yeah, because once you've sold something at 0.3, then you could say you've sold something at 0.3. Then you're deserving at something at least at 0.3 when you create something that's really good. So that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. So cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With that, no problem. With
Thank
that, I don't have anything else unless you guys do.
Yeah.
That's it. Thanks.
Cool. So the next collection, it's actually a single image. It says UAE landscapes and cityscapes. This is by Karan Govind. So I'm gonna open this up here. And when I picked this, it wasn't sold yesterday, so it must have just sold out today after I had already picked this. Let's just read this real quick. To the west of India and northeast of Africa lies the tiny peninsula with dreamy, superlative structures of Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and surreal dunes of UAE. What is UAE, Subodh?
United Arab Emirates.
Oh, okay. I should have known that. The
That's my country.
I should have known that. United Arab Emirates. The sand beats. I know I've heard it before. The sand beats the rain showers, yet there is a pristine oasis and gorgeous golden sand dunes to the edge. This is the United Arab Emirates with amazing landscapes and modern sized skyscrapers. This series is about the superlative structures of the surreal sand dunes of UAE, a divine boon granted to this country, the darling to tourists, sand dune bashers, and photographers in the winter months. What's a sand dune basher?
They are the ones who take their cars, expensive ones, and bash the dunes. It's like surfing on a wave, but we do it on the dunes because why not?
Oh wow. Yeah, they're expensive cars meant to ride in dunes, or expensive cars like Mercedes and stuff like that.
Anything will do. People screw up their cars
Anything,
anyway, just for fun. Yeah.
just for
But
fun.
mostly it's the Jeeps and all the four-wheelers, but also there are some idiots who come
Yeah.
with their normal cars and screw it up.
Wow. So, yeah, so, there's one image here. Before we go into this one, just go into the questions first. It was, recommendations about the frame, price appropriate recommendations, any cons about this photo I can improve. Um, so interestingly enough, it's called, landscapes and cityscapes, and it's on Sloika. So this is a contract, right? So I'm guessing that Sloika allows you to add images to the collection. Is that do you know the answer to that, Sabod?
You can,
'Cause-
but I want to ask Govind whether that is the plan, because if he's planning to add to the same collection, it makes sense. Otherwise, yeah, the title is misleading.
yeah,
He's in the
it's
room, I think. Maybe Govind, you can.
yeah, it's not listed here. Like you should talk about what you plan on doing because you have a sold out. And I noticed in the tweet you called it a sold out collection. But to be fair, it's not really a collection. You sold out an image within something that is going to be a collection. And so with that, I wonder, what's the next image? And what is your idea on how you're going to curate this collection? Is it going, what's next?
Oh, he's not here. Okay.
Okay, he's not here. Okay, that's
You,
fine.
he was here
It's
initially, but now he's not here.
it's Kieran. It's Kieran. Okay, he's not here. That's fine. All right. Well, we can give feedback on the image itself for sure. And so
Same thing, the crop ratio straight away.
yeah, but not only that though, the name of the image is the name of the collection. Is it? No,
Yeah.
no, it's not. I'm wrong.
No, it's down.
I'm wrong. It's empty quarter minimalism. So yeah, and this photo is captured in the empty quarter, the highest sand dunes in UAE. The minimalism shown in this photo appeals to the viewers, and the sand dunes in the backdrop create drama with the ship of the desert camel, also giving life to the man in the barren landscape. I'm not exactly crazy about that description, just because it's almost telling me how I'm supposed to feel about the photograph. Because it says, it's like it literally says the photo appeals to the viewers, and then it tells me how it appeals to the viewers. I mean, I didn't get that when I looked at the photograph myself. It appealed to me in a completely different way than that, and that's fine. But I would kind of make a description that's a little bit more left open to the viewer's imagination, and I guess just talk a little bit about the experience or something. I don't know. Is that what you gauge from this as
I
well,
agree.
Sabode? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So let's open it up.
definitely. Description could be better. You don't have to tell what you see in the image. You have to tell what you feel about the image. So telling what is visible is unnecessary. Always, that's one part of storytelling. I always say that NFT will end up making us better storytellers because we are learning, and I think it's part of that process. But Mike, if you can just zoom this picture, can you get rid of the sky?
I think I'm zoomed in as much as
Oh,
I
you
can
can't
now.
yet?
I'm zoomed in. Can you see on my screen? It's fully encompassing my screen.
Yeah, I mean, I zoomed it on my phone right now, and if you remove the sky, this image is stunning because it's just one pattern repeating itself and one element of the camel and the human breaking the pattern. So it's very gorgeous when you zoom in and crop the image and get rid of the sky. But
And you
yeah,
get
that I
rid of
think you
it.
can't do it on the computer.
I can't do it
Yeah, without the
exactly,
sky.
but I mean, I could always do like a little screen grab
Screenshot.
from like here. Let's see.
Maybe you
Yeah,
could go along with the aspect ratio. Just crop it a little bit on the right hand
on
side and make
the
it
right,
aspect ratio kind of a thing.
like like a more realistic aspect ratio or something. Like even
Yeah.
like, is it around here or here? I don't know. Let's try something like.
Yeah, somewhere there. Yeah, exactly.
Let's try
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
this.
this.
I don't know. Let's just try that.
If
And so we
you
can
look at this
see.
image,
Yeah, I think a little bit more height to it, or there's needs a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. You know what's
Yeah.
interesting is that you're talking about the sky in this image, and the sky was a little distracting to me too because I was wondering how the sky is pure white because um, looking at it, it looks like there's light hitting the dunes, unless it's a cloudy day. But even if it's a cloudy day, would the light hit the dunes like that? It wouldn't have this contrast. So um, I wonder
It's
how.
part of the
At,
exposure, because in deserts, if you want to expose the ground with the sun shining so bright and a desert reflecting all the light, it's very, very hard to control the sky. That's the reason I never include sky in my pictures unless it's a night scene. Otherwise, you're gonna get that white sky in the deserts.
yeah,
Yeah, even this is such a beautiful one.
I like this crop, sort of like that too. This image sold though, so I mean we're talking about something that already sold. Um,
Yeah, it's gone.
but yeah, it's gone, and so I think it's a beautiful shot. It's it shows scale. It shows the scale of the desert. I'm sure even with a wider angle lens and a wider shot, you can see even more scale here. But I think this is enough to still be able to see and capture the subject, which is the man pulling the camel through and the footprints that sort of that go towards the east of the in this desert, or the east side of the frame at least. Um, but yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the questions, recommendations about the frame, we already talked about that. Price appropriate. Is I don't know the price, right? It just says collected. Is there a way with Soika where you can see what? I
No,
think
you
it was.
can't.
Well, I think he said it in his tweet. I think it was 0.2 or 0.25. So if we go, let's just take a look. He's on Twitter here. So, and so it said sold out in 144 hours. Um, uh, wonderful news.
Maybe if you go to the media, you may see the older post with the pricing.
Well, he does have the pricing here somewhere.
Oh, he has?
Yeah, it says sold. Yeah, 0.25 right here.
2.5. Okay.
My first series, Life in Barren Landscape, live now at zero. It was live at 0.25, so I'm guessing it's sold. And Ev said sold, so sold. So congratulations on the sale, 0.25. That's cool. I'd love to see what's to come. I'd love to see what this collection is going to look like with multiple images within the collection. The other any cons about the photo I can improve. Yeah, we talked about your ability to be able to crop, and the white sky is a bit strange within this, but it's I mean, even so, left as is, and it's sold. It's a beautiful image. I don't think you need the answer to that anymore because it's no longer in your possession. Yeah, I just you could always DM me. I'm sure Sabod's DMs are open for work like this to show the next stuff that he's looking to mint within this collection, and I'd love to see it and give my best advice. I'm sure there's a shot like this. That's this is the cover image. So there's a shot like this that's going to be in there. That's a beautiful shot. Nothing to say there. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else from you? Well, there's not much we can really
Mike.
talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's small. So with that, we'll move on. Our next collection is the collection is actually called Steve Wallace Savage. Yes, hi.
I don't know if you saw, I put it in the chat, but Steve had to leave for parent-teacher conferences, and he said he'll be back in about an hour, and was wondering if.
Let's skip and bring them bring them closer to. We'll bring them like 5 down or something, or yeah, 5 or 6. There we go. So we can go then. We'll go to Into the Light. Into the Light is by Mahesh Guild, and he has some questions. Just what do you think about overall collection? Can I add more pictures, or should I wait for any sales? We'll take a look at the collection first. We'll take a look at the description. So street photography can be an exciting, challenging, and rewarding genre to explore. Capturing the world around us in an authentic, unposed way is something that resonates deeply with me. I've always been fascinated by light and shadow and how it makes the scene more dynamic. I love to capture the visual representation of these light and shadow patterns on the street. Into the Light is a collection of some of my street photographs with light and shadow. Interesting. I like the way it's written. Although light and shadow, you've said a few times in here. 1, 2, 3. X. I don't know if you have to say it that many times into light, but yeah, it's basically the study of the dueling battle between light and darkness in photography, and so um, yeah, we could dive into to some of the images. Just from looking at it like this, I can already tell that there's some stuff in here that I'm gonna really like.
Yeah.
I do love
When
this.
you use the word cohesive, when you
Yeah.
use the word cohesive, I think this is what it is. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly, very cohesive. Lots of silhouette, lots of geometry, and if we go into it, you'll see how the artist fills the frame in a particular way. This one I couldn't help but see just the nose here, and then the nose here, and how they're sort of both coming out of the same figure, and they're both the same shadow, and then another nose here, and it's this beautiful silhouette and perfect amount of what we could see in the image to create the rest. I guess with our imagination of what's going on here. Shot.
Mike, if you don't mind, on this picture, just to analyze, if you can go to your screenshot and remove the corner,
Just
on
move the
left hand
left
corner,
side,
there's
right?
black patch. Yeah, if you can just
Like-
keep the white as a background,
Yeah, like
just a white canvas in the background. Yeah,
I would remove up this area here. That's pretty distracting. I'll do that. Let's see.
yeah,
So if I would probably take it right here.
yeah.
Just go straight down with it, and I think that we're looking at something. Yeah, right. Maybe
Kind of
if
feels
it,
tight. Yeah,
I'd probably move it a little bit to the left still, so that there was more space between his nose and the edge of the frame. But yeah, I like what we have. Let me see if I did it more. Of this. Something feels a little bit better to me when he has more space in the direction in which he's walking.
yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. I mean, yeah, his composition is right with the black. It's not a problem. I was just thinking that. So yeah, it's just a quick glimpse of how it looks.
Yeah, I just think that this part here is the most distracting piece for me. This triangular element in the left side coming out of the black, and then maybe even just this portion of the bag she's carrying. But with that out, that can be easily taken out. It's even if it wasn't, it's still a strong shot for me.
Yeah, it's anyway wonderful.
Yeah. Next shot is Catch the Light. And I love the triangular, I love the triangle that's going on. There's a triangle happening right here. And it's like this man's arm looks like he could grab this man like he's a giant. This man's arm is coming up. He's pointing to the hand. This man's arm's going in to grab the light. It's a very interesting happenings in this whole area here, and just the light and the color to the image is really beautiful and feels very true to life.
And the postures, everything is just so good. Yeah, but only thing again, it's one of my habits. I won't say Mahesh has to do this. He's an excellent photographer. For me, the right corner where things are a little bit loose, again, it's just a part of 10% crop, and making it very, very tight.
It's this over here where I'm pointing at, like where the silhouette opens up, and then you can see some of the
even on the top, the sky part in the top, right? Yeah, I would rather keep the right side of the frame completely dark without showing any leakage of the image from that side. Again, a part of screenshot experiment.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you experiment with something like something more along the lines of this here. Let's see what you're saying.
Becomes very tight. Yeah. It
I
looks
think
clean to me.
yeah, I don't know. I think it
Depends.
works. I think it works either way for me. Although it's this little part right here, this little part by the butt. That's that opening spot. I don't know. There's something nice about these two triangles here that I think could still work. It's just this part here where I think
But
it could work
yeah,
either way.
overall, very honestly, we are just over-analyzing the picture. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really, really good. Balloons. I love balloons, and I love the way this frame is filled. I love the way the balloons fill up the entire frame, and then there's just like kind of this just bits of negative space behind the subject. I think it's clear that this boy is the subject here, and love to see his hands here, and then just these orange and yellow colors from the headpiece that the person next to him is wearing, and then it looks like it even
Herself.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
lady
goes off.
herself looks like a balloon.
She does. She's got this the shape of a balloon as her head as well, and it looks like the frame generally moves into a direction that turns left and goes up into sort of an area over here where there's boys having a conversation, or maybe they're moving towards a ride, or they're at a festival. But I love that. I love that there doesn't even really have to be that much dimension in the frame shown, but the how far those boys are from this shows us the dimension within the frame. This is a beautiful shot. I really love this one. So
Yeah.
I'd even love it
I
if
mean,
even if the umbrella was touching the edge. Even if the umbrella was touching the edge, I think it'd be great. I mean, it's whatever.
yeah. I mean, if Alex Webb, I don't know whether he's on NFTs, but if he was on NFT, I'm sure he'd be collecting these pictures. It's so Alex Webb. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
All
he's
of them.
not on NFTs, thankfully for us. But no, he's one of my favorite for sure. Street photographers that operates in this fashion that's controlled chaos. I don't think there's really anyone who does it like him. There's some Turkish photographers that maybe do or come very close. That are actually in this space that do not have the name that Alex Webb does, but are just undiscovered and just really amazing. And I've tried to collect some of their stuff. So go on to the next image. This is in the shadows. And I love the silhouette of the nose and lips of this girl. Beautiful. And then the person behind them with the head down, and then the hints of purple. That's a gorgeous color, purple. And then the blue here.
Yeah.
And then all of these
So
geometry.
carefully composed. Because if you look at those two black figures, they're not overlapping, and it's so perfectly timed. 1 second here or there, and things could be completely all over the place. It's just so well timed.
It is. And I remember I was looking at this photo before when I was kind of studying the collection myself, and it was making me want to be out and taking photos. I know that's when I'm looking at that's really good is because when it makes me want to go out and be creative and make my own photos. I know when I'm looking at something that I really enjoy. So this is that obviously that beautiful golden hour light, or even the light that comes before that. That harsher light, I guess, works well for this type of photography too. So both is it true? Like even the midday, that midday strong harsh light. The last shot, yeah, the last shot is the one where it's just there's so much black negative space on the bottom for me in this shot, and then I have a hard time really putting a story together with this shot. I think this could have been something, and it's just not it. The woman's expression is just not it for me. The shadow in this frame here, it's not it for me. This one is a miss for me, to be honest. I don't know if you have the same reaction.
Yeah, because if that lady on the pillar, the shadow, if he's master at all those things. We've already seen in other examples. He could have waited maybe for that woman in the shadow to be completely complete with her nose structure and the human form. And imagine one glimpse. Streets is funny. You never know where the light is coming from. In that blackness, if there's one hand or one eye popping out, it would be so perfect. I love it anyways, but yeah, you are right on the heaviness of black and out of the frame.
Yeah, I mean, is it? I was wondering if it could be cropped with like a locked aspect ratio and like brought up from the bottom. I mean, then we would lose the lady in the upper right. But is she that important to the frame? If we got rid of some of this negative space and like the frame, the frame was more, the frame relied more on like this part of what was happening. I don't know if it would help, if it would be helpful. I think that's a stronger frame to me. But I still wish that, like you said, that we had the elements of this shadow here that's missing. It's gone. But light, it's very difficult with light. I like the image still. I do think it's, for me, it's the weaker image in the overall collection. Um, but let me see what the artist asked for questions on this. So, what do you think about the overall collection? I think we've said that it's very cohesive. We compared you to Alex Webb in some of the frames. Really beautiful frames. Obviously, I've been shooting street for a long time. You can't shoot street for not a long time and be able to make this sophisticated of, of compositions and understanding of shadow light geometry and all that. So, can I add new pictures or should I wait for any sales? I mean, I would wait for sales. Obviously, if you have 5 in the collection and you haven't sold any yet, then yeah, I don't think you need to add. I don't think you need to add more. I think you have some strong pieces here now already. What do you think, Sabot? I mean, adding more in a bear market with no sales, it just doesn't make sense to me. You keep it
Yeah, same
tighter.
here. I would wait. I would tell the story of each and every image. Uh, Almost every second day, I would post one of those images in Twitter and tell the story and explain the process. And maybe you have some behind the scene. You can show contact lens and how about this image is formed. Like there are before shots, there are after shots. It's our duty to educate, and street photographers, especially, especially the fourth image. That was a split second. There were shots before and there are shots after. You could put all of them together and educate every single day when you get a chance. When you wake up, when you're doing that GM post, that could be an educative post so that people understand how hard these pictures are. Because some people have a perception that streets is easy, but it's probably the hardest to shoot. So I think that these 5 are good enough to explain that, with the different storylines each day. And yeah, I think it should be at least moving halfway before something else comes. Otherwise, it's again excess and also confusing for the people watching on Twitter.
Completely agree. Especially looking at this shot, realizing that it's less than a second. If this guy's silhouette was trapped in her hair, it would be a completely different image. But just that small separation, very beautiful. So yeah, I would wait. I'd wait till you get some sales. I'd love to retweet this later. I definitely love this collection very much. I'm very much into this type of street photography. It's very far outside of the street photography that I excel at. But it makes me want to go out at this time of day and kind of punch my exposure down to where everybody's a silhouette and just focus on just moving in between people and playing with shapes and faces and stuff. This is inspiring to me. I really like this. So cool.
Yeah,
If you
definitely.
don't,
Mahesh, according to me, he's one of those hidden gems in the NFT space. He deserves much more visibility. His work is brilliant, whether it's portraits or streets. He's just very good at it. Yeah.
I agree. Mahesh is here too. If you had anything, if you wanted to jump in and say anything, or had any questions. Not, I don't know if you're checking the chat box. I'm not able to check it because if I check the chat box, then everybody can see my screen too. So it's like, oh, he's saying thank you here. So I will give Art. You're very welcome. Joshua Water says, really lovely collection. Cool.
And Mahesh,
Uh,
maybe once in a while, I know it's not for everyone to come up on Twitter Spaces, but our art needs our voice, and that's how it works. So once in a while, you could try Spaces, come up, and especially MetaJungle Space and etc. You could just come up and share this work because it requires to be seen, and your voice is required to make it sell.
Absolutely. Would love to hear his voice in a space sometime because should be easy for you to speak when it's when the work is this good. You just talk about why you like to get out there and why you like to put stuff. I'd love
And
to hear.
lastly,
Yeah.
Mike, if you can go to his Twitter, I want to just see his pinned tweet
Yeah.
on how it's been presented.
Let's see it. Oh, I like that. I like his grid at the top.
Cover is top. Yeah, excellent
Yeah.
choice.
But I think that this shot here, the one with a lot of the negative space, could be replaced by like this shot here. It's really strong.
Yeah.
Or even
Actually, that
this
should have been part of the collection. The other
bottom
one,
right.
the
Yeah.
bottom left, I mean, the one with the kid and the
Yeah.
son. Yeah.
Bottom left is the strongest to me outside of the ones that he already has in the collection. So I think replacing the third one with that one would make it like, whoa, like this is very sophisticated. I think you could do that. I think that would be a good idea. Let's see. So he's actually his pinned is actually a different collection. I'll retweet. It looks beautiful. This is Eyes, a Window to the Soul. But so then when it that's the thing. This is on Foundation as well. This is August 28th. So did he post this already without having a sale on the other collection? Let's take a look. Collection of 6, and he's got it. So, these are beautiful shots too. This is a completely different photography. So I wouldn't personally even know that it was from the same photographer. Well done work, but like, especially this one. This is gorgeous. But I wouldn't mint 2 at the same time. I wouldn't mint 2 collections at the same time. There's a difference between minting 2 photos at the same time. This is thick. But between minting 2 collections, I would probably, not want to have to focus on both of these, especially in a bear market right now. It's just my opinion. I would have stuck with the collection.
Can we go to his media section?
Yeah.
Down. Yeah.
This is on object. He has this one.
So, yeah.
That's much different too. He has another available on object. I mean, are these photographs? Yeah, it's like that looks like a Halloween photograph. That's really good. Interesting. We're paying attention to a lot of Tezos right now. This is all today.
Yeah.
Still. And then Foundation one. So what collection is this?
So that's what happens, like when there are so many things, you tend to get a little bit lost. There's Tezos, there's Foundation, many collections, there maybe also OpenSea. So
this
oversupply.
This is another collection on Foundation. So
they're all gorgeous works. Nothing about the work. Yeah, it's just the way you take the journey forward.
Yeah, you're giving too many options out. Not that that's a bad thing, but yeah, you got to think about the idea of like supply and demand, right? Like you're oversupplying the market when the demand is low. Like the demand is low because we're in a bear market. So why hurt yourself in 2 areas? You're hurting yourself in the area of oversupplying, right? Because now your work sits unsold, and you're hurting yourself in the area of being able to talk about the work, because now you have to focus on multiple. I can't have 3 collections running at the same time and focus on the story of the collection and talk to collectors about the story of the collection. I can't do all of that at once. So I just think that you're working harder when you could be working smarter right now. And I think the most powerful of these collections that I've seen so far, this is my opinion, I think they're all very powerful. I think these portraits are amazing. I like the one that we're looking at right now, though, to be honest, the street observations that we compared to Alex Webb. Yeah, for me, it would just be too much on my plate, Sabode, to juggle at one time. And that's what we're kind of seeing that on the Twitter, is that there's a lot of media, but you're juggling. So far of what we know is just 3 different collections on Foundation. additions and additions on object. And now I see this collection where you've posted, but you replied some of mine to I love to see shadows, but you could have included your maybe there is no links allowed. It doesn't say that. Probably included the link to it, or instead of saying some of mine, like what about some of yours? What about some of yours that are different from Sri, right? Because Sri posted some images that are that come from this genre, right? But I want to hear from you about your works and why these within this genre more important to mean something to you rather than just some of mine, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, already we discussed, because this whole good morning post or whatever the post that we do every single morning or evening, whatever the time preference is, could be used to push that one collection, tell some stories, show the contact sheets, educate the crowd in this space, and keep pushing. But when you concentrate on so many things, there's AI art, there's portraits, there is
Yeah.
streets, you get a bit lost. It could be done one at a time, like in an organized way. And
Yeah.
Tezos,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I know Tezos is fun and all that, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of distracting sometimes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to go about it in a completely different way, right? He's posting 31 editions at 2 Tez, right? Let's just say 2 Tez is $4, but that's an overestimate because it's not $4. It's $3 and
$2.
change. Yeah, it's between 2 and 3, I guess. I mean, it's one Tez is between 1 and 2, I guess. But whatever, let's just call it $3 to be fair. 31 editions at $3 is it's not even 100 USD. And so then you're posting at 0.4 on these, or 0.65, which is I don't know, it has to be seven times the amount of the cumulative
Mike,
value.
can you come to that collection which you showed just now on the screen? The one with the blue kid? No, previous.
Yeah.
You remember this picture was on Lightroom, the blue kid?
This is beautiful. Yeah. 4 ETH.
On the homepage when you open Lightroom.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
On the homepage when you open Lightroom.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Something pops up, right? And that, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just over you amazing artist. You're just saturating your own market. You're over minting. Look at all the stuff that you have to talk about. Look at all this, and then you're involving yourself with AI art.
Yeah.
Your AI art is not
hard work of
that. Go ahead.
Hard work of Tezos could be taken into this images of streets.
I agree, and also your AI art is not sophisticated to where your photography is. It's not close. I'll tell you right now. I've been playing around in AI art for months, and it takes a long time to sort of develop a style that doesn't feel like AI art and feels sort of sophisticated. But your photography is you have so many hours and so much skill and craft put into photography, and you're creating AI art that has a lot less of that. I think jumbling it up in the mix of what you're already really really good at is just you hurt your identity as an artist a bit when you do that, I think. Unless you're selling some, it's.
I mean,
this
photography
is a
perfection.
shot from him.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Look at this.
Photography is perfection.
Look at this.
Focus. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's what I have on that. I mean, slow down on the collections. I mean, I wouldn't create any more collections, at least, because one of your questions was, can I add more photos or should I wait for any sales? I wish you could have asked that a month ago. But yeah, no, I would definitely slow down. Less is more, and wait on some of that, and please start telling the story on your Twitter, rather than just posting the images and saying here are mine, etc. Tell the story of that actual image, and I think that you'll go far. I mean, you're going to go far as you're really, really great photographer. You'll go far in this space if you get everything else aligned, all the other things like patience. One is patience. You have to slow down a little bit. Two is storytelling. You gotta stop thinking deep at some of your photo collections and thinking, why do I enjoy doing this? And write it down. Write down why the shadows and the light photography with the balloons and the silhouettes. Why do you hunger to get out and make those photographs? I want to hear about that. I think if you could nail that, you nail the patience part. You slowly get yourself into spaces to talk a little bit about your work. You can be on a very good journey, and just slow down on the minting process. That's all I've got. Anything else from you, Sabod? You good?
I think that's about it. Yeah, it's
Okay, cool.
Extremely good work. Just needs a bit of focus.
Absolutely. So moving on, we have a collection. It's called Soul of the Sea, and this is by Anastas Tarpanov. Anastas Tarpanov. And so Soul of the Sea is a collection showing the change in the stillness of the sea. So they're all the same and also different in every moment. The object that attracts us as an object for relief, relaxation, and even meditation, just by watching and listening to it. Shot in July 2020 during the first summer of the pandemic. So, obviously there's a language barrier. There's some things you need to fix here, like Soul of the Sea is a collection. It's a collection, stuff like that. Just reach out to someone and they'll help you with this. Someone English speaking, you can even DM me. I'll help you with this artist statement right here. It's very simple. We get what you're trying to say, though. It's you're showing something that is like the same, but it's also different in every frame. With that said, though, I went and looked at your collection, and I will say that they feel too similar. And I know that's the point, is that they are the same, but they are different. But there are just some in here that I just can't get past the fact that you call it a collection, but to me, it feels like I don't want to be offensive to say it. It feels like one day out on the sea with the same shutter speed, just over and over again, capturing in the same space. And I think that given the light being dramatically different in some of the scenes, the shutter speed being incrementally different in some of the scenes, the composition being a bit different in some of the scenes, we'd have, even if you have 10 here, I think that's a lot compared. So like the last shot right here, Soul of the C10, which I don't enjoy the titles. I would enjoy if the titles had some type of poetic, symbolism or something into what we're looking at here. Like something very simple would be like stillness. Something would be, whatever it is. It's better than Soul of the C10, because people aren't going to remember Soul of the C10. They're going to remember the title of the book. That last shot is a bit different from the rest, right? The last shot is definitely different from Soul of the C7. Okay. Then, Soul of the C1 or Soul of the C2, whatever, is quite a bit different from Soul of the C7 and Soul of the C10. So when I look at this here, I see that you have a collection of like 5 at max. Definitely not 10, because there's too many that are just too similar. I mean, this is just from my initial glance at it. I'd love to hear from Sabod. He might have a completely different opinion on this. But what is your opinion looking at these overall, and what you think they can go from here? I mean, they don't have any sales yet.
Mike, can you hear me? I got
Yes,
disconnected for a second.
I can hear you now. Could you hear everything that I said, or?
Yeah, I heard everything that you said, and I totally agree to you. Even when I looked at this collection, they look more or less the same, And again, second point which you made, which is the titles, it could have been more creative, like you're trying to attract a collector to this collection, you have to put yourself a little more into the pictures. For instance, the first image, when I look at it right now, it looks like a mountain in a sea of snow or maybe fog or whatever. You could take it in that direction rather than be straightforward. Second image could be a silk cloth. It looks like a silk cloth. So anything of that kind, you can take it in a different direction so that you create some intention behind these images on how you saw the scene. And thirdly, there could be colors. We all have this control on colors in photography. You could have played with colors and brought different hues to different pictures. Maybe that could be the separating factor. So the number of ways that you could have played with this and made it look a little bit different. Otherwise, I agree with Mike. It looks like almost the same image, like more or less like a PFP project where everything looks the same, but there's some small variations. Yeah, there was opportunity to play with this, I think, and it could have been much tighter.
Mm-hmm. Agree. So to tighten it at this point now would be tightening it down to possibly 5 of ones that look very different. But I mean, just even if you just look at these two, Soul to See 5 and 8, they are different. Of course, everyone is going to be different, But Soul of the Sea 7 has its own soul to it. I feel like this one has a rhythm that the others don't. Look at this. This is my favorite one. It actually feels like a painting, and in the middle part of the painting, this piece here is like, it could almost be like there's a whale underneath pushing it up, pushing it up, or just waves pushing it up. But it feels like different heights and different layers. It's really, really well done. And so it's like, like I said, when I look at it as a whole, it feels like you could have created these all in the same day. But if you go out on different days and maybe this is from different days, maybe I don't know, but can only look at it from how I'm looking at it, right? Like Soul to See 6 and Soul to See 1, they're very similar too. I mean, they're different and they're similar. I think Soul to See 1 is better than Soul to See 6. I think that's a start. Soul to See 1 is strong. Soul to See 7 is strong. And there's Soul to See 10 is very strong to me too. And then I think there's this one with the ripples here is different too. I think they have to feel at least a bit different from each other. And I think the way that you could achieve that, and Subodh's right. He said, we have a lot of control over the color. So like you have a few different colors in even just one of the images here. Like this image here has yellows, oranges, blues, magenta, right? So if you went into Lightroom and you played with the hue of every one of those colors, you could create a different color image in just about all of these. And then maybe it would feel, it's color that has to differentiate between them, because one thing here is color, it is color happening over and over. The other thing is the shutter speed being the same. But
yeah, I mean, if you consider 10 piece, it's a pressure point, in a bear market 10 piece collection. Even I released a new one, but it's just 3 pieces. It's not because I want to release 3 pieces. I want to release 30 pieces, but I consider the market that it's going to be hard. So let me not just take it as another pressure point in my journey. So I keep it very, very tight. So that's something you could play around. Even if you look at it, 0.15 is the price, and 10 piece, which is like 1.5 Ethereum. If you put 4 pictures at 0.3 and work equally hard, you'll gain almost the same amount of value for the collection. And your pressure point of selling 10, you have to find 10 collectors. Instead of that, you just find 4 collectors for 4 strongest piece by bumping up your price a little. That's totally cool. Price has never been really a factor for, collectors don't really, think, it's 0.15 versus 0.30. I'll go for 0.15. Rather, they'll go for 0.30. We have seen a lot of such examples where collectors push their limit because at the end, they're trying to support you and your art. So I would rather go with that 4 piece, make it really, really tight collection at 0.3 or whatever, and earn the amount of Ethereum that you want to earn from this collection without overloading with 10 similar looking images.
Agree. Do they each have a description too? Soul to See, it's a collection showing the changes, stillness of sea, the object that attracts us to last days. So it's a copy. They each have a copy paste from one another. For a collection like this where they're all so similar, I don't know how I feel about that. whether or not it needs a different description for each one. The title definitely would be very helpful if if they each had different titles. Also, Soul of the Sea, is he not able to use just Soul of the Sea without underscore? Does that happen if there's another collection also called Soul of the Sea? Because I think it would look cleaner if it was just Soul of the Sea and you didn't have to use the underscores in there. I don't know what that is for. And
That
then
could be done. Yeah.
I think it could be done. Questions in this one was what will be correct pricing for a first collection on ETH? I think you nailed it. I think 0.15 is correct pricing for a first collection on ETH. Advice for best presentation. I think we already gave that too. The advice for best presentation, especially right now in the bear market, is less is more, right? Maybe the top 3, maybe the top 5. Definitely not 10. 10 is a lot, and especially when you have a lot of similar ones. I'd love to see you go out there and experiment some more with different shutter speeds, different angles placed down on the water. You know, a lot of these are like got this sort of not bird's eye, but they have like cameras up shooting downward. Maybe some ones that are bird's eye, maybe some ones that are closer to the water. And you could probably use the same shutter speed for all of those and still get a much different image. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about getting a different result from shooting the same subject here. So, and there's, like I said, there's some beautiful ones I pointed out. This one, Soul of the C7, that was really beautiful image to me. It feels a lot like a painting and it has a lot of depth in it. Also, the last one for me, this one I feel is really, really beautiful as well. I love these little hints of green in here, and just I think some of them are going to hit, and then some of them aren't, and so it's up to you to figure out which ones those are, and talk to some friends and show them to some people and get some advice on which are the best ones. But I think you could do a much shorter one, but I think you should go out and definitely shoot some more. But with that, I don't have anything else on this collection. And if you're good to move on, Sabor, we can move on.
Yeah, sure, please.
Cool. But some very beautiful ones in there. Next one collection here is Tranquility of Ireland. This is by Michael McCafferty. Many people are familiar with Michael in the space. He's very active. So let's take a read. Is there a description? So there's no description. Definitely look at making a description, especially if you're going to price let's just look at he's got some pretty elaborate questions here, or long ones. I recently burned all my work on Foundation, reminted it with Manifold, and relisted it on Foundation. Have I done the right thing? It's an interesting question. I guess the right thing depends on like what you consider to be the right thing. I've never burnt anything on Foundation to have it listed on Manifold and then relisted. I don't know. I don't know how bulletproof the contracts are on Foundation. I don't. And I think there's things about Manifold that, like I think Chip was talking about the other day, like there's like venture capitalists that keep Manifold alive by funding it. And what if they stop funding it? Yeah, my legacy collection is minted in Manifold, and there's something that I felt was safe about that. Having it on my own contract, more transferable to other platforms. I don't know. Do you have better advice than me on this about? I mean,
Not really, because I
yeah.
have not ever used Manifold. But I think any given day, compared to the contract of Foundation or OpenSea, Manifold is way better. Everyone does it for that reason. I'm sure there's a reason behind everyone running behind Manifold.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good decision overall. Yeah, it can't be wrong, at least for now.
Yeah. He goes on to say, I'm only going to list what I consider my best quality images on Foundation. I guess he's looking at Foundation to be like Super Rare or something to that extent. I'm not on Super Rare yet either, so you pick a platform, etc. I guess for him it's Foundation. I won't be lowering my prices. If anything, I will increase my prices for these images. Am I silly to think this way? Well, we'll get back to that. Let's take a look at the images first. I need to update my pin tweet. Can you have a look at my current pin tweet? We'll do that at the end. So let's just go up into the collection here. Tranquility of Ireland. We already talked about. Like, well, there's no banner here, right? Like, so first things first, I definitely put the time and effort into having a nice banner. The one thing about Foundation that I do really like is that it has a nice, clean-looking layout with the banner. You don't have a banner, but you also don't have an image for your collection either. So you decided to skip on both of those. And so I guess we just go into the images because we don't have description. Sunset Strand. Description, a little long description of it here. We'll read this one at least. All right. So Port Stewart Strand, sweeping along the edge of Ireland's north coast. This 2-mile stretch of golden sand is known for being one of the most visited, spectacular, and pristine beaches in Northern Ireland. Post Stewart Strand is protected by the National Trust in honor of its historical significance and inherent beauty, as well as to protect the native wildlife, wild flora, fauna, grasslands, and dunes. I created this image back in the summer of 2020 while on a family holiday. My family enjoyed this beautiful part of the country, but I purposely planned this trip with the aim of capturing an image I would be happy to put on my wall. On this particular evening, I had the pleasure of witnessing one of the most spectacular sunsets I had ever seen. The vibrant colors in the sky sparkled on the water below. I composed this scene because I loved how the Groyne, wait, how do you say this? Groyne, Groynes, stretched out into the sea until they were completely submerged in water. The long exposure enabled me to capture movement in the clouds and to create a silky smooth water look with a beautiful contrast between the light and dark elements in the image. If you're ever visiting the north coast of Ireland, this location is definitely one you should add to your itinerary. Then the artist's name, collection name, edition, and license. Lots of interesting attributes here, properties. But yeah, this is a gorgeous image. I love how the image is pretty much cut down the center between these gorgeous green blues and this wonderful color of the sunset. These pinks and oranges, and I love how these wooden sticks in the water, they just sort of fade out as they go deeper into the water until there's none left. They fade out into infinity, and the horizon line is quite beautiful. I enjoy this image very much. So, you like this one?
I think you said everything that I wanted to say, Mike. It's perfect. And I
Yeah.
think the crop ratio in this case is very, very purposeful. It's not like a wrong crop. It's purposely done to look 16:9 kind of a feeling. So I think it works for this image.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Definitely beautiful. So he does a buy it now at 1 ETH, and he does a reserve at 0.5. I mean, that's a pretty big gap. If you actually want 1 ETH, that's a pretty big gap in my opinion. Because most of the time, especially in the bear market, if somebody places a bid at half of an ETH, you're probably going to get half of an ETH. So I would consider the gap. That's fine. I did like the artist statement a lot. It let me know a lot about that location. It's a beautiful shot. Oops. NFTs. Titanic Belfast. And so pretty elaborate descriptions for each of these. I mean, I'll try to read through it quickly. The image was created at the Belfast home of the world famous Titanic. When I participated in an international 24-hour photographic project in July 2021. It was a beautiful morning, calm water, very little breeze. Conditions were ideal for a very long exposure shot. 21 minutes and 35 seconds I had to wait to capture this peaceful scene was completely worth it. This location is quite popular with walkers, joggers, tourists. But at 4:30 a.m., I had to place the place to myself. I enjoyed every second of it. It was a perfect location to reflect on life and the history of the great city of Belfast. And I'm fortunate enough to call home. Famous Belfast city landmarks, the Titanic Belfast Museum, and one of the large Harland and Wolff shipyard cranes can be seen in this image. It is literally the stretch of water that the ill-fated ship Titanic began her journey. So whoever purchased the NFT will be adding a bit of history to their collection. So I'll actually let you talk about this one first, Abode, since that last one you said I said everything that you wanted to say. So.
No, I mean, with this image, when you look at the overall collection, this feels a bit. If you go to the overall collection, Mike, can you
Yeah.
go to the all 4 images?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, all
It's not
3 are
nature.
naturescapes,
Mm.
and this is more of a cityscape kind of a feel. So, yeah, in that sense, it doesn't really fit. Otherwise, a single image as such is, I think, gorgeous. You know, it's well done. It's proficiently done.
Yeah, there was something about this image to me that I couldn't figure out why it felt so peaceful and calm until I read the description and it said that it's that long exposure, 23 minutes or so. And so I don't shoot that, I don't shoot that long of exposures very often. It kind of makes me want to play around with the idea of that because there is a calm and tranquility and beauty in this, and it really makes the reflections have this otherworldly kind of look to it. It is a beautiful
Yeah, I
shot.
mean, if this image is placed at 1 Ethereum, so this could have been easily taken out of this collection, made into edition. Maybe 30 editions at 0.03 would earn you 1 Ethereum anyways. So this could have been taken care by the community, where this collection with the 3 naturescapes could fit in together and work beautifully as a collection.
I like how simply put you make that sound with with it being taken care of by the community as an addition. That works and still gaining the 1 ETH that you want, but being in more wallets
Yeah.
than one. More wallets than one. This is Calmness in the Madness. Calmness in the Madness was created in the first week that I had begun working from home due to the COVID pandemic. The world was going mad with all sorts of guidelines and restrictions being put in place, um, such as being able to travel no more than 7 miles from your home, only if it was for exercise or getting groceries, etc. I was snuggling with the whole idea that I'd be working from home for the foreseeable future and how much I would miss the social interactions I had taken for granted over working life and personal life over the years. I know it had been 1 week in, but sitting in my small room by myself, I was mentally drained. I just had to get out of the house to relax. Luckily for me, this location was within the 7 mile radius I was allowed to travel. And since this day, I've returned on numerous occasions and have been treated to some of the most amazing sunsets and tranquil scenes. Looking at this image now, I'm instantly brought back to a happy place and an hour of my life when nature painted this fantastic work of art. I feel unbelievably lucky to have witnessed this natural beauty and now to share it with someone. I'll let you take this one since the last one didn't quite fit in the collection.
I mean, all the other 3 images, I already seen the collection when you posted the links. They're all just perfect, you know, like he's really, really good at what he does, without a doubt. I mean, there's nothing to say but perfection, yeah, for me.
Yeah, beautifully minimal. I like that it almost feels like the reflections with these sticks are almost creating their own language. Like it looks like there's an arrow here, and then it looks like some parenthesis and something else, and then just a archaic language that's being created. But it's everything is still so still and so calm and so peaceful, and they work really well on this 16 by ratio. Yeah, I love the transitions of colors from the water, from the blues into lighter whites to the peaches and pinks, and yeah, it's a gorgeous image. Last image we have in this collection is the thirsty tree. And that's another beautiful shot. There is something for me about the first two that we said that fit into the collection that for me feel this is minimal, but there's something about this, at least for me, where the horizon cuts through the center of the tree, where I probably but what's nice about it is that the sun cuts through the center of the tree, which creates the sun coming through the tree, which is beautiful. But there's something that takes away from it because the horizon cuts through the tree, and I don't know if that's the same for you, Sabot, or if I would have gotten lower on this one or tried different angles, but it hurts the
Yeah,
minimalism for me when the horizon intersects the complete subject, which is already a busy subject because of the branches. And I think for a tree to be minimalist, can't can't have something cutting through the center of it like that.
yeah. I mean,
Mm.
when I saw this image, same thing came to my mind, which is exactly what you said, cutting through the tree, maybe a bit low, and the tree could be put in the sky with the beautiful sunrise happening in the background. But again, I thought maybe since I've seen his work and he's so proficient with what he does, maybe it was something purposeful, like they say, know the rule to break the rule. Maybe just that sun sipping through the tree, through the busy foreground, maybe that adds some kind of a like kind of a feel of its own, so I kind of let it be because
Does.
I felt like it was purposeful.
I agree. I see that now as also, the tree reaching this horizon line, but this horizon line looks like a nature of trees, like it could almost be an extension of the tree, which is
Exactly.
interesting. And if you look at it from where it's cut off and you hold your hand over the top portion, it's kind of interesting how it comes down into the second part of the frame. So yeah,
So
it's
it almost feels like a, what is the word, diptych or whatever they say, where two images come
yes,
together. Yeah, if you
like
break the image, if you
Samia,
keep your hand on the screen, yeah, you'll feel like it's two different images coming
yeah,
together.
like exactly. Diptych is where, yeah,
Yeah.
is where you take two images to create one image that feels like one image. So I do appreciate that, and I appreciate you bringing up that point. Um, that was just my initial when I looked at it, but after observing it for longer now, I can see what you mean. So who doesn't love a lonely tree? A lonely tree coming out of the water, even better, right? This little tree located at Stony Ford Reservoir in in County Antrim, North Ireland. I was able to capture this image by wading thigh thigh high into the water and waiting for the perfect moment when the sun would peek through gaps in the tree branches during sunset. I have returned to this location recently to find that this tree has been damaged either by stormy weather or has been simply vandalized. Either way, I'm glad I was able to capture this moment and the beauty that this little tree once had. I like the artist statements and this idea he's giving us about how of a rarity in some sense that this tree could no longer be captured. Um, and,
Yeah.
maybe that's one of the last captures. It's kind of nice to know. And so going back to his questions, first of all, I definitely think you have enough. I think you definitely have enough panoramic style landscape shots to make a beautiful banner here. So you have no excuse. I want to see a beautiful banner here, and I would love to see an image on here from the collection because this is just unless your idea is to keep it very, very, very simple because you're a minimalist. But I think it can add to it. I think Foundation has that over some of the other platforms where you can make something beautiful like a cover of a book. Um, you could even change the font and whatever you want with Foundation, which is really cool. So to the questions, um, I am only going to list what I consider my best quality images on Foundation. I won't be lowering price. If anything, I'll increase my prices. Am I silly to think this way? Um, I mean, if items have sat and it's the bear market and they haven't sold, I don't know, increasing them. I don't know that that makes sense that they'll sell because you increase them. I mean, if you want to like increase your patience gap and have more patience, then maybe that's a better idea to raise the price. Should you lower it? No, I don't. I mean, I don't think so. I think your work is really well done. It's a great story. I think they're beautiful fine art images. I do agree that that one shot doesn't fit within the collection that Sabode pointed out. You're talking about man-made structure. The rest of it is mostly serene nature. Um, yeah, I need to update my pin tweet. You have a look at my pin tweet and give me recommendations on how to improve it. I did look at your pin tweet, and I before this, we'll go look at it again. I personally thought that your pin tweet was really well done, and I thought to myself, maybe I need to have a pin tweet like this. So he has here, hi, my name's Michael, and fine art landscape photographer, where he's from. I've worked on foundation and OpenSea marketplaces. And so he's talking about 5 different collections in which he has here. Then he goes through, this is page 1 of 15, shows a little picture here of himself, and then an image from different collections here. Get out of this. And then that goes on to the tweet storm of images from different ones. That's beautiful, that shot, where he's talking about the region and the area, saying it's an award-winning image. This is a reserve, manifold contract, super well done. These images in the collection that we just looked at. Holy tree. And so, like, a tweet storm about each piece. I like it. I think it's really well done. And this one here, Irish Seascapes, where he talks about this collection. Black and white Ireland editions. These are gorgeous. That's where he really shines, right? I think this is minimalist work. When I look up and I come up here to the landscapes that you have up here, this isn't to me of your best work, to be honest. When I look at your minimalist landscapes, these ones aren't quite. I mean, this one's quite beautiful with the sun shining here and whatnot, but there's something about your very, very minimalist stuff that stands out to me. I mean, these black and white ones here, that one's just gorgeous. This feels like it could be on Mars. Really well done. You have this Simply Abstract. This sold out. I'm not a fan of this collection from you. I'll be honest. I don't know how you created them, but they did sell out, and that's fine. But it's much different from your work. Very, 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 very different. I didn't particularly relate with that one, and that's fine. But we're talking about your tweet overall. This is really nice. Picture of you showing the camera setup with the landscape in there. Very much into the outdoor life, trail walking, exploring different parts of the country, always on the lookout. Love to hear about you, Mike. I'm really glad that you put this together. I think this is a really well thought out tweet. This is cool. What's this? Outside photography. I enjoyed playing lawn bowls, and he's got a trophy from lawn bowls. It adds a human element, Mike, about who you are outside of just photography. Rachel said this is an awesome read, Michael. Love it. I love how much thought you put into it. I completely agree with that. So yeah, I love the pin tweet. There's nothing that I'd change about it. With that said, before that we talked about. We talked about prices. Do you have anything to say about the prices, Sabode, or his tweet? Any way you could make that better?
Yeah, I mean, with the tweet, I would, it's first of all, wonderful tweet, one of the finer threads that I've seen in a long time. So it's a great introduction, and the whole thread is fantastic to give a glimpse of what he does and the stuff that he has. But what I would do is I would keep it as a bookmark so that I don't lose track of this tweet. And every maybe 3 days, I would refresh the pin tweet, maybe put additions for 1 week and pin it up and focus on additions, push it, and then bring this tweet back, which gives a nice introduction. Keep it for 3 days, then go back to the next collection, which is this foundation collection. So I would play with my pin tweet rather than leaving it, because it at one point it reach a point where it's saturated. There's no more retweets coming, there's no more likes coming, there's no more eyeballs on it. So that's when you could refresh the tweet and do something else, and also for additions. those two pieces which you have is stunning. I mean, those deserve to be seen more, and that happens by retweeting. So this whole editions could be a pin tweet for a week, and then move forward with foundation, move forward with something else, and then bring back this tweet again just to give an intro. So that refreshing would be very helpful, I think, because there is always a peak for a pin tweet, and then it just sits there. There's no one doing anything about it.
Yeah, something you could do too, like, right, is if like, let's say something new happens within my collection or something that I want to talk about, right? I could go to my own tweet, I could like quote tweet it, and then add the information here, the new information that I want these people to see. And then they'll also see that this is listed in there and they can go check this out too. So that's just I don't know if that's what you were saying, but that's another cool thing that cool function you could do to kind of keep your pinned tweet alive also, because it doesn't look like your pinned tweet has had that much traffic run through it. I think it deserved more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with that said, I think I don't have anything else on the collection for Mike. I think he's really fantastic at what he's doing, and I like all the thought that he's put into his tweet there. So it's really good. It is did Steve Walla come back yet? Steve Savage. If not, then we'll move on to the answer marathon. Let me take a look. Steve. No, he's back. Wallace Savage photo. He's here. So we'll go to his collection now because we didn't we skipped it because he had to take a break. So look at all the collections today. It's only OpenSea and Foundation. Do you realize this?
Hands like a
no, that's what I meant. I meant to say it's only Sloika and Foundation. There's no OpenSea. There's no OpenSea. Cool.
Definitely.
So we just did Michael. So okay, yeah. So Stephen, Stephen Wall Savage collections. So let me see. His first question: so this was going to be the only collection that was actually from OpenSea because I picked it and it was an OpenSea collection. But then I realized the OpenSea was just images that led to his foundation. His first question is actually, how do you feel about selling half a collection on Foundation and the other half on another marketplace? I would never do that because you're splitting your story in half between different marketplaces. And what if someone that resonates with your story wants to buy on a specific marketplace, but that person doesn't resonate with the other marketplace? They might not buy from your collection. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Subodh?
Yeah, I think exactly the same thing, because we are trying to tell a story with a collection, and the story is only true when they're all together as one set. And yeah, I mean, either OpenSea or Foundation or Sloika, wherever it is, one platform, I think any day is better than splitting it across many. If it's totally different categories, totally different story, of course, you can go anywhere. But when it's one big long story, I think I would keep it together.
Yeah, and so I think Steve actually split it up because when I looked at this, I thought that there was a bunch of sales, but there's no total sale volume, and it's only owned by two. But yet half of the collection is in a different wallet. So it's in this wallet here, I believe transferred to this wallet, and then the other half it looks like remains on Foundation here. Let me reload this just because the images aren't completely page unresponsive. We're gonna wait, and we're gonna just press refresh. And if Steve's here too, so if Steve wants to give us an idea of what's actually what the idea behind putting it in two different places is, I'm gonna have to exit the page. I should love to hear about that.
If you head over to the live chat too, he put in there where the description is and everything.
Okay.
Because I think the description's actually on OpenSea.
Oh, the descriptions of the images are on OpenSea?
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. How you
Hey.
doing?
Hey, pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, man. We're just hanging out talking about that. I got
Yeah.
some boat here. I couldn't be better.
Thanks about. Yeah. So the description is in the link I put. Still trying to figure out this whole contract versus collection thing. I think it's kind of a mess in general in all of NFTs, but everything shows up on Foundation, so that's kind of the best place to see it. But as I said in the chat, it's split right now because I was really excited about the Manifold Gallery, and so that address you see is just the Manifold escrow contract. That
I
I'm
see.
pretty sure.
Okay.
So I'll
And
probably be
so-
moving them back to Foundation since I like the view better. But I wanted to give it a try and didn't want to just put one.
Okay, so you decided to move half instead of the whole collection. Did it cost you money to do that?
Yeah, and that was back when gas was, a dollar instead of like 40.
Oh,
So now I have
yeah.
to wait and bide my time.
Okay, interesting. And so, but it doesn't mean that it's a different collection. They should all kind of speak within the same,
Yeah.
speak the same as a.
Yeah, this is all the one collection, Dreaming California, which I wanted to start a Manifold contract that was all of my collections, and now I'm still rethinking that, but yeah, any new collections I have will also be in here, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, when I first looked, this is a little confused because it's like it's Steve Wallace Savage collections, and so I'm like, is this just a collection? Before I looked at the work, I'm like, is this just a collection of one of ones? But then when I looked at the work, I was like, okay, this has a cohesive feel to it. I mean, especially with the colors and everything like that, and the landscape and such. And so this is actually called California Dreaming.
Dreaming California. Yeah.
Okay, Dreaming California. So it doesn't say that in the description, right? It just
Right.
says.
Well, that description is pulled from the Manifold contract, unfortunately. And Foundation doesn't let you change things like that.
So you're just in like a little bit of a purgatory in a sense. You
Yeah.
can get yourself out. I get it. Okay, so that's where, yeah. So so some of my feedback was actually things that I'm glad you got on the mic because some of my feedback was things that you were addressing actually. So which was like the title of the collection and stuff like this. So it's okay, cool. So yeah, outside of that, let's see what questions you had. How do you feel? That was a question. Why are OpenSea collections and groupings so difficult to manage? I think you put like some emoji smiling face or something like that. I don't remember, but I don't know.
I know.
I think Sloika has the best right now ability to like move through your collection and groupings and see it as a photographer and how it's wanted to be presented. But I'd love to hear what Sabota has to say. I'm sure it's going to be something funny.
Yeah, because it's broken C. As simple as that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
But what happened to me when this whole process was going on with half the collection there, half the collection here, the struggles to read the description, the title, I got confused. I think one thing we need to do in this market is keep it as simple as possible, whether it's on Twitter to reach your work or once you reach your work to collect your work. It should all be straightforward because the patience we all know, sometimes we run out of it. So I think this felt a bit complicated to me as to what's going on. Where is the image? Where is the description? What is the title? California Dreams. Why don't I see it here? All those questions. So I think it could be simplified.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm waiting for Foundation to catch up to me because the collection name is in every single photo as the collection property, which is again unfortunate, but
I did see that actually.
Even like it's another consideration you could do if you're completely into photography and that's what your focus is. They really present it well. It's so clear and crystal clear.
I agree.
And no headaches of smart contracts. Their smart contract is top class.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with that. Yes, I think it's like what he said, the broken sea thing. I'm actually having a hard time with OpenSea lately, like opening images without it taking them a really long time to load up on my screen. Except when I open my own images that were done in the contract when they open for quickly, it's because they opened from somewhere else. But anyway, let's get into the actual collection. So without opening any images, there's definitely something cohesive here, and that's like the color palette feels very cohesive throughout. And so I definitely see that, and now I understand it's like also the location. So this is California. Um, this image, this one really stands out to me a lot. Like if I was looking through the collection, this is one for me that I thought was just really, really beautiful. This couple, it seems like a couple because I feel like I could see four legs out on a swing, and it's just really interesting that they have a swing out there. And I love that you added these rocks in the foreground here to lead out there, because I did cover up the rocks with my hand and say, oh, can this be stronger without that? But no, I think it's beautiful, beautiful through. One thing I notice on some of your stuff, it's a little bit saturated for my taste as far as photography goes, but it's a lot of people like that. A lot of people like that look. I mean, this is a beautiful shot, right?
Yeah.
Like all
the look is
Go ahead.
intentional. If you read the description of the collection that I liked, this is more saturated than my usual stuff because I wanted to make it more dreamlike, to go with the theme.
Mhm. Oh, it makes sense, and it does feel more dreamlike too. And I love the colors in this too. I do love that blue tone. I love this just that rounded sun sort of eclipsing the bridge there, and just the little bits of people on the bridge. I think without the people on the bridge, it wouldn't be as strong, and it just has that. So it's a really beautiful shot. Final location. In the end, I left my cabin by the sea. My state changed both inside. Experiences gained, friends loved and lost, all left behind and fading to memory. I like how it's like also like poetry in the descriptions. Kind of leaves some stuff open to interpretation. That's nice. Wow. The sunsets you guys get out there, pretty cool. We're getting in New York. It's gorgeous. Uh, Well, I love the waves too, like the white in the waves. It's beautiful here. See, that's the annoying thing about Foundation. I have to keep clicking back to go look at an image. The thing about Leica that's nice is I can just press arrow keys and just go through the whole collection. That's a really nice thing. This shot stood out to me. I really like a lot of your shots almost feel like they're missing a subject, or I'm like seeking to find a subject. But in this shot, I feel like I'm like led out to that subject. It is that home, and I believe that's like a lighthouse. It's beautiful with the leading lines down to it, and then just the sea and sky. And this is just a really phenomenal shot. I love that shot. Follow today. I guess I hope for more. Setting out into the unknown, succumb to its other edge. It's supposed to change you. It's supposed to change everything. I do definitely love these descriptions. Very open pieces. Shot here, 72 degrees. Once again, like you said, when I first looked at the image, I'm like, oh, this is a really beautiful image. I just wish it was color corrected differently. But but it's what if you read the description and you're going for a dream, then I can imagine that the colors in a dream, because I've had dreams, are not the same. This is beautiful. This little waterfall coming down here and just blasting that little spot there. The whatever shutter speed you used here to create this, it seems probably it's probably a 1 to 2 second shutter speed, I can imagine. This gorgeous little landscape. I don't know for me if it feels like it could be two collections. How do you feel when you look at
Mike,
this overall?
I mean, we both think so similar. And I was about to say that when I was waiting to say that it's two different collections in my eyes. One is all the beautiful sunrise, sunset together. Other one is all night shots together, and the city which is there in between. That if it was me, that image would be an addition. Where you see the bridge, yeah, that one, yeah. So I see three different sets here. One is the sunrise, sunset. Other one is the night shots, and this one easily an addition, so that everything has its own place. Right now, it looks a bit overcrowded to me.
I do agree. While the tones and colors can bring things together, there's more to cohesion than just that. Like I see a lot of people do this with black and white too, like where they put a lot of black and white shots together, and it just because it's black and white doesn't mean it's necessarily cohesive. And I'm not saying that you intended to do this or anything like that, but it does feel when looking at it like there are these slowed down moment landscape shots, and then it does seem like the night ones are, while they do have sort of a similar feel, they don't it's not nature anymore. It almost feels it feels a bit different. I think it could be in two, like you said, two different collections. And then you have an image that sits between solitude. It almost sits between calmness and peace and solitude, lonely life, where where it's like it's like a combination of almost both that could operate inside of it. It possibly could operate still inside of the Night series, but it could operate as an addition as well. But I'm glad that you also saw that Sabode, because it's hard to fit this image, swirling dust, right, into the same collection as the shot on the pier. This is a beautiful, beautiful image too. They're both beautiful images, but in a completely different way and a completely different feel. This reminds me of somewhere in the California deserts, where it's, I'm sure you tell you where it is.
At the bottom, the properties.
Yeah, properties there. Okay, we got United States, but then boom, we have Mojave Desert. Yeah, exactly. This is in the Mojave Desert. You have so many properties in your stuff: astrophotography, shutter speed. You have a main color. This is interesting. Down the line, this is going to mean a lot, I think, with these properties. But yeah, I mean, really wonderful work. This one I thought was really, I don't know, it had a really nostalgic feel to me too, and it felt very calming and peaceful, this shot as well. I just stayed out at a cabin with some friends recently. We had a lot of stars and stuff like this. I love the, I always love when you see these yellow light coming in from a home, something the warm and cozy about that, and the stars above it. It's a beautiful shot, but it feels like it fits more in that last shot. I do think you have I do think you, I mean, since you haven't, I don't think you've sold any of these, because unless this one is sold.
No, that's also unsold, but it's an experiment to try to fix my OpenSea collection.
Sure. And so since you haven't sold any of these yet, like, it's almost a good thing, because you can, if you want, now break these into two different collections. And what that does is it creates one, a more cohesive vision, but then two, it allows for an easier sellout of the collection, because there's less images within the collection. It gives people less options that they have to look through. There's me, if I came in here as a collector, there's a few shots here where I'd be like, I really like this one, swirling dust, but I really like diamonds shining. So it's like, but those would be in different collections. So I wouldn't have to pick. I'd probably just be like, oh, I'm going with swirling dust, giving people like a little less options within the two different collections. But yeah, I think you have a certain aesthetic that's definitely you. And you definitely went for the colors with the dreams, and you got all the beautiful stars. It's a lot of, yeah, beautiful photography. But I think that's the biggest feedback, is that, we were confused at first, and it's because confusing things are happening right now. We have some of it in one area and some of it in the other. The other thing was that it just kind of felt like two collections, that, like a night collection and then another collection that it's more around these slower, peaceful moments that are happening during the daytime, or sunset, sunrise. But I don't know. You have anything else you could add to Simbo to help with this?
I think we covered it all. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's all
It,
covered. Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
definitely, it's two different collections and one edition within this collection.
And Steve, do you have anything based on what we said, or any questions or anything like that?
Yeah, how much does story matter? Because this was meant to be a collection that is a story in its entirety. You know, all 12 pieces telling a 1/12 of the story.
Is it 12 pieces of a different dream in a sense? Is that what it is?
Well, the description should say it all. But it's basically my memories of California are fading, and this is what I want to convey with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
The open sea description.
Okay, yeah, the open sea description. I understand. And I will go take a look at that. And so there's two things to be said about that. Like, yeah, story is very important, right? But if the story is told in the descriptions and only understood through reading the descriptions, and if you look at the collection as a whole, and well, you have two people here saying this, and we're just two opinions, right? And if we're looking at it, and this is two different stories to us, then it doesn't really matter what the story and the description tells us, right? Because reading the story and the description is not going to change the fact that I see this and I could curate this into two different groupings that I think could look better curated next to each other. As a curator, I think I could do that. And so and curating is storytelling. So so my answer is storytelling is important. And I think that that photographs should be able to tell the story on their own, and that a description should be able to complement that story that the photographs already can tell. And I don't suppose there's anything to add to that, agrees to it completely.
Yeah, I mean, I would tell two different stories, with the same theme, maybe with the same underlying story, but I would say two different stories with this collection. That's what I feel. Because, yeah, as Mike said, curation itself is storytelling. Making them one family is very, very important. I personally feel that, but it's totally up to you. Nothing wrong with this collection. If you like it to be one big story, it's totally cool. But for me, I definitely read two different stories in this collection.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also people that are in the audience right now that are listening, right? And they don't have to have the same opinion on that story as Sabode and I. And Sabode and I did not talk. We did not talk or have any interaction before reviewing the artist of this collection. I mean, he was in Sarah's space. I was studying the artist here. Maybe he studied them last night. And so we have a similar opinion on that. But maybe others in the chat think that it all works well together. And like I said, it's just two opinions, but storytelling is certainly important for me, at least in photography, unless that photography is strictly about geometry and it's geometric patterns or something that that people create, that they see within within life or within nature. And sometimes it's just aesthetics. But this one, yeah, I think it has story. So, yeah, cool. With that being said, I think we can move on to the next collection here, though.
Thanks, guys.
No problem, man. Thank you for coming up and being up with us. It's always great to have the artists here. We got the Mountains in monochrome, and this is by Bantu Day. And Bantu, just like Steve, actually is very active. Twitter, a lot of people know who they are. They've been here through the great times and the harsh times, or whatever you want to call it. I think they're both great times, but it's they've been here through thick and thin. I'll say that much. So the artist statement here from Mountains are calling, and I must go. That's a quote by John Muir. Mountains are my first love, and they have provided me with endless moments of pure joy. These memories, captured in monochrome, are timeless in my heart and now reside timelessly on the blockchain. Color is descriptive, black and white is interpretive. And that's by Elliot Irvin. With each photograph comes a world of interpretation, where the depths and the shadows draw on my deep feelings and memories of past encounters. Come take a look, choose your memory, and find the meaning along these ridges, interpreting them as you wish. Really cool. I really like the artist statement. I love the two quotes from others who are either poets or photographers themselves or whatever you want to call it. And then I love in between that the words written by Bondi Day. It's both beautiful and it goes really well together. This is a series of five. Zoom in a little closer here. A series of five, and there are two available, which means the series collection is more than 50% collected. Only two left here. And so let's take a look at. I've definitely seen this collection before and talked about it, but let's take a look at how is the storytelling component, and how is the coherence quality of the image as well. I mean, the coherence and quality of the image is great. I mean, this is very cohesive. I think that the image is great quality. Storytelling component. Your description is very, very well laid out and tells sort of a story. I guess it's hard to say when you just when with photograph landscapes within a collection are definitely harder to tell a story than anything else. But I think the story in this sort of lies in the contrast between the blacks and whites and the ridges within these landscapes. Well, let's take a look at them. This one's a regal scene. I want to look at that actually on white and not on black. Oh, that's black. That's actually was looking at. Yeah, I think it needs to be seen in white, and that's wonderful looking like panoramic view. These are very high contrast. I actually really enjoy high contrast black and white, especially with mountain scenes that have a contrast. Very Ansel Adams did a lot of work like this. It's a beautiful piece here. And yeah, so let's look at these big. Yeah, so these more than anything to me are a real study in like light and shadow. And if I'm just looking at the mountain, it looks like it could be on another planet. It could be somewhere else. And I think this shot really needed that touch of the moon, that touch of the half crescent moon. And this is like got a perfect black and white sort of yeah. Once again, a shot like that I feel like has to be seen in white. Black like that, it's very hard to see the borders, where the borders begin and end. But yeah, these beautiful peaks, and I love there's no muddiness and there's no grays to be said about this. This is pure black and white. And something I really like about this shot too is the I love the pole in here, the electric poles that are put in here. They feel like their own little standing giants. It just shows perspective really when you see how big this one is and how little this one is out here. How monstrous these mountains are. That little one can seem so small within the just the size of this whole thing. You have these like little paths that you could see running through, and you could tell that it was a bit of a I don't know if it's a foggy day or a bit of haze, but those mountains they fall into sort of more of a haze than these blacks in front of the tones. Sabo, do you these for you? Do you have pieces in here that you feel are the strongest ones to you, or ones that stand out within these?
Yeah, Mike. First of all, I like the description. To start with, the album description is so perfect because it's mountains in monochrome, and he gave a description of mountains with a nice quote. Then the monochrome part with a nice quote from another artist or whatever, and then a description of that further from his point of view. So I really like that split which he has done with the title and the description. It's really wonderfully done. But only thing when I look at overall, it's exactly what happened with Dr. Dashawata's
Aspect ratio.
collection.
Aspect
Yeah,
ratio.
there are
Yeah.
squares, there are 16:9, there is all kinds of crop ratio happening. So yeah, if everything was square, it would work together beautifully. If everything was square and one was 16:9, still it can be okay because it's a panoramic image. But there are three aspect ratios happening here. So that kind of feels a little bit loose in terms of that. Apart from that, I think pictures are great, wonderfully edited. Yeah.
Yeah, these last two, I mean, I probably wouldn't have put them as 4 and 5 just because they both have the tower. You know, they both have the power line tower in there. So I would have separated these two. I actually think that this one is much stronger. Um, the landscape
Compositionally,
version.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it has a
compositionally.
beautiful, yeah, well, I mean, good weight in foreground, good weight in midground, and then there's a sky. It splits the image beautifully. Only thing I feel is when I see this image, the first thing that came to my mind was that
Ghosting.
pole. No, the pole being tilted, like it's sleeping a little bit. It could have been either straightened or sometimes even the angle of shooting can make things lean. Maybe that was the case. I don't know, but yeah, maybe it's the
Yeah.
mountains itself. Maybe the engineers just did a tilted pole, but who knows? Yeah, if it was me, I would have corrected that tilt because yeah, my eyes go directly there because it's a very prominent subject and it's leaning, so it feels a bit like I want to get hold of that picture and straighten it up.
It looks straighter in this one here, right?
Yeah,
But the thing about this one here is that you just lose it. You lose
yeah.
it. You
Here anyway,
lose.
it doesn't have
it-
prominence. Yeah.
Yeah, you lose the pole. It doesn't have its prominence like in the last image because the last image allows it to have that prominence because the mountains behind it are so much further behind it, and they also have sort of a haze that the initial foreground doesn't have. So this was the stronger of the two shots for me. Um, I'm actually kind of surprised that this one is still available. Um, I thought it
Uh,
was yeah. I thought it
I
was
saw that
one of the stronger
Guy
ones.
Norkel swept two of them. So Guy Norkel did Guy Norkel thing.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. NorCal guy NorCal. He's yeah, he sweeps a lot. He likes a lot of landscapes, but he is collecting some street stuff recently that I've seen him collecting some street stuff. So it's cool to see that. And he's a good person to have in your work in their vault. It's one thing I think
Yeah.
is having your works in the vaults of some people that are very respected as collectors or people that you can tell are curating and collecting for the right reason or whatever that people collect for however they want, whatever it is, it's the right reason. And if you collect and it's your money, it's your money. But some people, you see their curated collection, you say, oh wow, there's something to this. Collecting is an art. I think collecting is an art. I think curating is an art. And so Nortel guy collects some really interesting stuff. So congrats on that. Questions we already went through that storytelling component, you got the coherence and quality. You've got the coherence and quality of the images, and I think the storytelling is told through the descriptions here. I don't know. It's when you're looking at shots of mountain peaks. I guess it's hard for them to come together to speak a specific story. I guess the story to me is about light and shadow and scale of mountains, the importance of nature. That's a story that I get from it. So I think that you have that. And congrats, you have 3 out of 5 sold. So I'm sure the other 2 are going to sell. But I don't think I have anything else on this collection.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at these images, for me, I've been here many, many times to the Himalayas. I look for that one extra element when you're trying to make a landscape of this kind. In the first image, the panoramic one, there is a bit of cloud, which adds a nice touch. In the second one, there's a moon. In the third one, I feel it's a bit that X factor could have been there, whatever it could be. I don't know. But the fourth one has the pole. Fifth one, yeah, again, there's a X factor. Even a human element or a bird or could be 100 things which would come there. Yeah, that I
Mm-hmm.
feel missing factor here. It felt just straightforward, but still it's sold, so it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful shots. The next collection I have up is more monochrome. This is Monochrome Universe by Raymond Gasnier. And as soon as I saw these, I was like, wow, these really well
Killed it.
done. Um, The only thing that I don't think fits in here is actually this shot here. I don't think it's as strong as your other work, and it's just not done in the studio. And then this bottom portion of the frame is just very distracting. I don't know what this is. I mean, it's a beautiful shot, but it has a distracting element in the bottom, and it's the only shot that's just like done in a studio, I think. So it just doesn't fit in the collection for me. Even the shot that has movement, the monochrome angel fits because it has the same feel. These are really, really well done. From the lighting to the separation from the backdrops to the gaze of the model, the storytelling, names, Empress. They're really, really, really beautiful. The costume, the models. It's hard to give constructive criticism on a collection that's so well done. I love this. It's beautiful. Like it says so much without having to be to have it's so simple in imagery, but it says so much. It's really what I love about minimalism, is that it can do that. Wild, really wild, pushing boundaries of like what you're doing. This is infrared. These sleeves with these pieces just flowing through the fingers, it's very well thought out. Nothing seems accidental in your work. Seems very, very well thought out.
Even
go ahead.
Even the animated one fits in so beautifully, though it stands out because it's animated. At the same time, it's part of the family. You can feel that it's part of the collection. Like you said, that one image with the lady standing on a balcony, that's one thing which I just don't understand why that picture is there. Apart from that, his skills, his years of practice is very much visible through all the images. They're so fantastic. Just that one image of the lady in balcony is just not fitting in whatsoever.
Yeah, this one. And you know
it
what?
almost feels like a mistake.
Yeah, well, the artist said here, he said, I love criticism, him or her. I think it's, I don't know actually. I love criticism. I have thick skin. Please tell the images you don't like. Well, that was the one that I didn't like. It's not even that I don't like the image. I think it's a great image. Waiting for You, it's beautiful. The geometry is nice. The thing in the portion of the bottom left of the frame is really distracting. But it also just doesn't fit.
It's meant to be somewhere else in some other collection, but not in this collection because it's so tightly curated. It's so fantastic. This image just doesn't fit into that.
This one definitely does, though. Like, look at this. So
Everything
well
else
done.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so well done. Just all this silver and all the shapes, the body, the background. It's not purely white. It's got a gray tint to it. Just these little shines on the black skin. Yeah, it's just there. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful work. Prices, buy now. 3 of them you could buy now. I don't blame you for making them. I think it's one of the strongest images in that bunch. 0.88, 0.66. So there's a few buy nows. And then a lot of them have a reserve, like you can start an auction. So this one you have at 0.45, and I mean, it shows the lower you put the image at, the less the artist seems to have an appreciation of it. I guess that's the way at least I see it. I mean, I think you already knew that maybe this one wasn't old. I still love this one. I don't know why this one's priced the lowest, but I think it's really beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot of great.
Since he asked for it, the one with the hoodie, if you could just scroll up a little, the guy, yeah, that one.
The hoodie?
The second one there. Yeah. it feels way too simple compared to all his images because he has such great black and white, the shine on the face, the control on everything. This is a beautiful image. I'm not saying that. It's just that it doesn't feel as powerful as the others.
It's just aesthetically nice. It doesn't have the parts of it that make me imagine a much bigger story like the other ones do.
Yeah.
It just aesthetically looks really nice because of clothing. I mean, I would just consider redoing a shot with that same clothing piece, but maybe it I don't know, maybe it's with a black background and it has more of a maybe they're holding down on the hood and looking down, or you're creating some sort of a parallel or some sort of a story with it. But that just, even in the eyes kind of look like I can't get a story from the eyes. So I agree with that. But yeah, this is really interesting too. This crown, I've seen this before a few times in multiple places. I love this. Like, wow, like what, and it's wild. You got this patent leather crown. It looks like a mask that was created from, maybe it was hand created or it was purchased. The jacket has the lines. Like, you can tell that like the artist really has a good understanding of like lines and geometry and like how things cut and intersect and how all of that comes into play to create beauty and aesthetic within an image, So
Yeah, there's a
love.
PFP project called Psychedelic Anonymous. So it's a
Yep.
beautiful project. Yeah, it looks like that image with the crown.
It does. Yeah, it does. It looks like it can come from psychedelics. This is great too. Just the lips. Yeah. And then the tattoo, and then how you've used the fashion of the hat to complement the sort of detail and style in the tattoo. The stuff's
Is that
very
really a
well.
tattoo or is it a sleeve? I mean, if this is tattoo, this is some terrific work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tattoo. There's people that create work
Whoa.
this well, and even better than this that I follow. There's some really hyper realistic people creating hyper realistic tattoo creations that people are doing. But yeah, this works awesome. There was some large questions in here. And my phone died. That's where I had the questions. Can you pull it up? It's in the chat. I posted everyone's questions.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. You guys able to pull up the questions on this one? Just because my phone died. I don't want to
Yeah.
go into this.
Let
Okay,
me
great.
get to the questions. The first question is about pricing. He says, I was able to sell for 0.66 and my pieces are worth more. And also he has to pay to his team who work behind the scene to make this possible. That's why his price is high. So what do you think about the pricing?
I mean, I think he's a great artist. So, I mean, stick to your pricing. I mean, I'm sticking to my pricing through this market too. So, yeah, understand that we're in a slow market right now. Obviously, like looking at Bitcoin at like $19,000 when its high was like between 60 and 70,000. So, all of this can change. Right now things are going to be slow. That doesn't mean you have to lower your prices. It's really great work. You have a team, a lot of effort into this stuff. So I would stick to where you're at. Also, there's a lot of collectors out there that they don't like collecting cheap art. They like to collect art that the artist feels is worth 1/8 of the time and effort they put into it. So that's my pricing.
Yeah, I mean, even there is a whole range of price. So it's good because you are catering to many collectors of different kind. So there's pieces at 0.4, there's pieces at 1 Ethereum. So there's a whole palette available. So I think it's quite cool. Yeah.
I think he's doing a really good job with the pricing. Yeah.
And the next question is about he says, I'm in many spaces. I create multiple threads supporting and also collecting others' work. My tweets don't reach many. I have had pieces in exhibitions, but still there are no bids. I can't change my descriptions either. So what do you recommend?
Well, we already talked about this. What I recommend is all the stuff that comes with it. Like finding collectors that collect, speaking with collectors, seeing if people are interested before collections drop. Yeah, there's just a lot of work that can be put in. Like, we talk about how I have had actually a graphics create like posters for me before I came out with the drop that say that they're coming soon. The posters look amazing. You can see, so you already have an idea to build a team, right? Because you're talking about having to pay a team that helps you with this stuff. So maybe finding a team within the Web3 space that can fill the gaps for your weaknesses of maybe it's marketing, maybe it's making those movie posters, or maybe it's like someone who can help you make a video, like a video piece to build anticipation for your work. Yeah, I hear you. You're in a lot of chat spaces right now. You're retweeting other people's work. It may feel at times like we're doing everything that we possibly can, and we're not. We're still not getting the attention we deserve, and we still not. And sometimes there is no real answer to it. Success comes in waves. This comes especially for me in waves, where I didn't sell anything for months, and then I sell a bunch of stuff and getting bids on things. It's not the market changing; it's just the universe reacting or something, the patience or something. I don't know. It's a very hard question that a lot of people have. I mean, including myself and many others. And I think I think a lot of it revolves around the market. But I do think that there's a lot of things that you could do during this market so that when it moves around, when it shifts, that you're in the damn right place to do really, really well because you set yourself up for success. Like, I mean, Sabode, for instance, is a great example, right? I mean, he's hosting the most chat spaces of anyone I've possibly seen, and he's doing it in a time where most people have ran away, right? It's like, yeah, there's a lot that you could do to still remain seen, alive, relevant, and people know your name so that when things turn around. But that's the only answer that I really have. You can only do your best, and you can't. Nothing's forced, and everything will come, and success will come to you if you put in the hours. And the work is already there. The artwork is already there. The artwork is amazing. And now it's just the time for the universe to catch up to all the time and effort that you've put in.
Yeah, just to add to that, I would also, if I was you, there are a lot of collectors who look for, who collect such images, like more towards the fashion and more towards the kind of images that you have. So I would keep an eye on Twitter and see who's collecting what. And whenever I see someone connecting with such art from other artists, I won't be too scared to DM them and introduce myself and say, nowadays it's everyone knows that DMs can be two-way. One is straightforward shilling, other one is being more meaningful and creating a relationship. But it doesn't mean that you beat the bush to chat to a collector. You could go straight forward and say, okay, this is me and this is my work, and I'm not asking to buy. I'm just introducing myself because I've seen you buy such works and just wanted to put my image in front of you because it's very hard to reach nowadays because of Twitter reach and etc. So I think that bold step to just go and talk to a collector is also a good thing to do. First of all, you need to understand who collects what. And then, because when I was looking at this, there are a few collectors that came to my mind. One is Astar, he collects such images. And then there is similarly many more collectors who are collecting such fashion and etc. So I would focus on them and try to directly have a interaction rather than just going and shilling under their good morning or etc. it's better to be straightforward that this is what I do. I just want to introduce, thanks to algorithm, my work may never reach you. So I'm here to just let you know that I exist, that kind of a thing. And secondly, you have so many work, if you just put all of them in a poster, it's going to look very, very busy. So I would be using this title, Monochrome Universe. Right now, if you look at this cover on Foundation, it has a title, it has the image. That in itself is a cover, beautiful picture. Yeah, similarly, I would make that repeat posters of all images with this title, with the link to the collection, and pin it maybe once in 3 days. I would change my pin, and you never know who sees what and which retweet does the work for you. So I would keep repeating this thing because you have a huge collection. And finally, whenever you do that, maybe a small thread with behind the scenes to show what goes behind making these images and explaining about your team and all those little things. And finally, there's spaces. Spaces is a great place to be connecting. A lot of magic happens on spaces, and that's the reason I do spaces, because it helps people move their work. And last but not the least, maybe you've already done it, I don't know, but editions, maybe not this work, one of the other work, you can pick one of your stronger other work and make an edition and make it, create the noise around it, because the whole point of edition is that you involve the community. So once you reach more and more and more people who collect your work or share your work, meanwhile, they'll come back to this collection as well and share these things in the future. So that kind of a relationship. So yeah, that's about it from my side.
Great, yeah, great additions about absolutely all that stuff. So everything I said and all that stuff that you've mentioned as well. And even with all that, you can still be slow, and it's just patience. I believe in this artist. I think they make phenomenal work. I think this is a great example of how to use Foundation to have like beautiful font, beautiful main picture, beautiful cover image. Like this looks really well presented, right? If, I think collectors come in here that are ready to collect, they're going to collect from this collection. So that being said, we can move on to the next question. I believe we have 3 left. We can go on to Shenzhen Metro, and this is by Talric. And I'll read the description here. Congrats, by the way, Talric sold one, because once again, when I was reviewing this collection last night, this was not sold, and now it is sold today. So there's one sold one. Description is the Shenzhen Metro collection consists of 5 one-of-one superimposed photography pieces. Photos were captured in transit, riding the metro subway in Shenzhen, China. The approach of superimposing and montage create depth, motion, and color schemes that offer design attributes. Collectors are entitled to larger files were a printed and signed version of the piece collected art by Talric. Once again, Talric, congrats on the sale yesterday. That was my favorite piece. I'm going to open it up. It's called Sleepyhead. And it's actually a one-of-one superimposed photography piece of is an intimate and unique capture of a girl passed out while on transit to work. I love this shot. I love the way in which it's superimposed. It's perfect, right?
Perfect, yeah. Best image of this collection, yeah.
Easily. And the person who collected that, congrats to the person who collected that. Great piece. And I like the price, 0.25. There are 2 other pieces in this collection that I enjoy. And then there's 2 pieces in this collection that I feel could be taken out of this collection and you can make better ones. Let's start off with the 2 that I think I enjoy in the collection. So this would be the other one, Pink Pumps. I think you did a good job on this one with the black shoes here, this guy's shoes here. She's obviously the center of attention with the pink with these pink heels, let's call them Pink Pumps. And then I love what's going on here. I love this smeared through this face here. The purple here goes with the pink, and then there's something happening in the corner up here. I think this superimposed works for me. Other superimposed that works for me, I believe, is this one here, Take Me Away. Still, I believe neither are as strong as the first one. I think the first one is just like you just really hit that first one, like the way you impose those two images. I think more along the lines of, I think when you're more abstract than this, you are your stuff is more compelling. I like this shot too, though. I love how you could see that you superimpose the train that's passing by this, and it's going through her hair, which it actually looks like it's actually piercing through her hair, and she has that sort of like, head on the arm, like she's kind of over the day. She wants to get through with the commute. So those worked for me. The two that didn't are actually, well, this one the most, Hard Hat. The frame is just, it's just, the frame just doesn't feel right for me. This blue shoe, the guy in the background here doesn't really add anything to the story to me. He's really just looking at his phone. And so, and it's just a, yeah, it's an interesting, I don't know if this is the original crop, but it feels very thin in the crop. Yeah, it just feels, it feels like a claustrophobic frame to me that just doesn't have much of a story. And then there's the Buddha frame, Happy Buddha, which was the other one that I wasn't as crazy about. I mean, I guess it does have a layer of humor to it. So if you are into the images that are a bit surreal and have humor, then I think this definitely does fit. Looking at it for the second time. But Sabode, you said the same thing about the sleepyhead one feeling the strongest. There's something about how he superimposed those that just feels not only more intentional, but more like thought out and just more, I don't know. It's more abstract in nature, and it feels more dreamlike, and it makes me want to kind of go places with my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you already stole my words, Mike. Exactly the same thought. But I don't agree on the paper Buddha because I really love that picture. But the fourth one, definitely not. It doesn't feel like his work. The fourth image is too simple. He's trying to create magic with motion. Even the motion is kind of missing here. The overall superimposing, I don't see much happening here. So this is definitely, when I look at other works, I can't even say that this is from the same photographer. So yeah, for me, this one is a definite no. The other four, I don't even know how his thought process works to create this. They're so good.
Mm-hmm. But I did say that after I looked at this for the
Yeah, you
second
did
time,
say, yeah.
I did say that after I
love
looked at this for the second time, I have a new appreciation for it. So
It's very
sometimes,
humorous, and
Mhm.
yeah, you keep roaming around the whole image, because there are text, there is a Coke, there is a Buddha smiling, the
There's
hands has
language.
that weird gloves. Yeah, everything about it is just makes you stop and watch the picture. That's a huge success in these days when we just run through the images.
I agree. And after analyzing it for the third time, it's grown on me. So these four,
Yeah.
and then the hard hat piece is definitely for me and Spode. Did we read the description here? Shenzhen Metro consistent. We did read this, yeah. Photos captured in
Yeah.
transit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so
I
it
think
makes
it's
sense.
good enough for, given it's a street photography approach. Most of you are a street photographer yourself.
Yeah.
Most street guys don't like to tell the story. They just like let the work do the work. So I think in that sense, that's more than enough words for a street photographer. But yeah, I love this collection. It's so unique. I don't know who it reminds me of. Maybe Bruce Gilden or someone. I don't know. Someone does this kind of madness. Yeah.
Well, I feel that way too when about my street work, and even my ferry work. I don't like to have huge descriptions of each shot. I like to give like a little like one sentence thing, and that's sort of the. I feel like the image should be able to tell if it's a lot of its own story on its own. I agree with that. Yeah, and I really like this work. He had a lot of long questions. You have those questions?
Just give me a second. Let me go back to the. Sometimes I don't even know how to use Discord, but give me a second. Where is it? AML live chat. Oh, here it is. What's the photographer's name again? Got it. Shenzhen Metro. So how do you see? Oh, it's mobile photography. That's incredible. So how do you see mobile photography works growing in the NFT space compared to film photography?
Sorry, I was just
Mike?
unmuting. I was just
Yeah.
unmuting myself. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything is a tool, you know? Like I don't know. I just played with my friends. What is it, iPhone 14, like the newest one that just came out, and we were upstate New York. I handheld took a photo of the stars, and it looked pretty incredible. And I was like, okay, set up try. Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, it's just a tool. Just like film photography is a tool, just like digital photography, DSLR, mirrorless, whatever you want to call it, is a tool. Like the real art comes from the mind. So, I mean, I don't really have that much to say on that subject. Like, do I think mobile photography is going to grow? Yeah, of course it's going to grow because it's a tool that's in the hands of more people. And so, the more people that have a mind that can create compelling work, that have that tool in their hand, are going to create more compelling work because they have it on them. I have my phone on me all the time. If I don't have my camera on me, I'm still looking around, analyzing life. I'm taking pictures with it. So, yeah, one of my favorite pictures from this last cabin trip I went on with my girlfriend was with my phone. So, and I took a lot with my Sony. So yeah, I just think it's a tool.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's mobile photography, I have more respect for this work because you have done things which people struggle to do with a professional camera, which is so well executed. Till I read this, I didn't even know it was mobile, so brilliantly done.
Yep, agree.
His next question is, while in my MFA program, I began using the medium of photography, fine art photography, to execute concepts and display my work. With that said, I consider myself a fine artist at mostly using the medium of photography, but I don't consider myself a standard professional photographer. What would you say is a key or are some key differences between the fine art photography versus a more standard type of photography presentations? And do you feel that the difference is clear to most or blurred? And does it matter? Basically, his question is, what is the difference between
Yeah, I get it.
fine art photography and standard professional photographers?
I think it's a great question. When he said he has in his MFA studies, he has a master's in fine arts. So he has like I guess a 4 to 6 year education in art. So I think fine art has a feeling. It's very hard to say because everybody sees differently, right? And so like one person could say this is fine art, and some other person could say no, this is not fine art. Some other person might call their street photography say this is fine art, and someone else say no, that's not, that's documentary. I don't know. For me, when I see something that I feel is fine art, it's just sort of like it's like a knowing that for me it's fine. And it's hard to explain. So as far as like wildlife goes, Hendro comes to mind for me when I think about fine art. There's something about his work that kind of transcends like the reality of the wildlife and brings me to a more imaginary place where it could almost feel like paintings or it's not even real. I don't necessarily think that fine art is better than work that's not fine art. I just think that it has a specific feel and that like when you know it in a sense. But at the same time, that's different for everyone because everyone has a different perspective on what that is. Um, yeah, that's my answer, I guess.
Yeah, I think more or less, as you said, is the line blurred? I think definitely it's blurred. Yeah. So definition is very much fluid. So thanks for that, Mike. And moving to the third question is, I tend to be more experimental with my photography works. So my question is, does consistency with one style, like approach, content, topic, etc., versus being more open-ended, experimental, really matter when it comes to sales? What does a collector prefer and why?
Do you want to answer that one? Right? I already answered two. I mean, I could answer it too, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned consistency with one style versus being more open-ended. So that's exactly me. I'm not a guy. I'm consistent, but I'm not one style person. I like to play with everything, as many of you know. I am very much exploring all types of photography, but I make sure that all type of photography has some kind of a signature, which is part of consistency, whether it's composition, whether it's the way I use light, whether it's the way I edit my pictures. When you see, you'll know that it's my work. So consistency has to continue, but it doesn't mean you have to do just one thing. That's my opinion. That's why I do all kinds of photography, because I enjoy all kinds of photography, still keeping my consistency and signature intact.
Yeah, you can still feel that it's Sabode, whether it's
Yeah.
documentary, wildlife, or documentary, wildlife, or portraiture. You can tell that it's Sabode, and that's the most important part. Is if you venture into those other genres, if you could somehow make it feel like it comes from your soul still, and other people can tell, then I don't see that anything being wrong with that. But consistency is a big thing, right? I think patience is key. Consistency is also key. There's a few things I think are key. Obviously, respect and humility are also key.
True. As far as what collectors prefer and why, I don't think collectors really mind much, as long as you're consistent and your work is good, and other extracurricular activities of being active and this and that. I think it's all good. No collector would say that I only see you as a wildlife photographer. Why are you posting portraits? Not at all. I think it's very much open. That's the beauty of this space.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I think those are his three questions. Yeah.
Oh, those are the three questions. Thanks for your questions, because it opens up a whole new dialogue and moves away a bit from the whole actually it is AMA. Actually, that those questions are actually AMA. Ask me anything. So it's they fit right in, and we get a lot of questions that are like, "How's my pricing?" And we get a lot of questions about like, "Is it cohesive?" But I think you asked a lot of important questions too. I want to see more. I want to see more thought out questions like this that we can talk about. So I really enjoyed those. So appreciate it, and really enjoy the work as well. But with that, I think we covered everything on the collection. We have two left.
Sure. Let's go to the next.
Cool. The next collection is Kunst Portrait, and this is by Toby D. Photographer. I'm gonna go to the description. Description just says a collection of my fine art portraits shot over the years, showcasing Renaissance beauty and peace in my art. And we'll take a collection of 6. I always like a small collection. Looks like 2 of them are sold for 0.3 ETH to different people. You have one listed much higher than the others. It's a 2 ETH. It's a moving image here. So I'm just going to go by, when I first saw these works, like what came to my mind first when I saw them. What the first thing that came to my mind was, is this photography? Second thing was, is it photography, but it's edited in a way where it has texture or filter to make it feel like paintings or pastel drawings, or even AI. Could be even AI. So I when I looked at this, I had a few different thoughts that came through my mind. I opened up a couple of portraits. This one, for some reason, stood out to me just to open up, and I opened it up, and I saw that, it's a very beautiful portrait, but it feels like the skin has a weave texture on it, like a weaved basket would have that type of texture going down it. So it seems as though artist adds something in Photoshop to make them feel a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more painterly, dreamy. But I think this is quite beautiful. I think it's a very, very beautiful, beautiful portrait. Let's see. This one really stood out to me, Drowning. Let's read it. To have faith is to trust yourself to the water. When you swim, you don't grab hold of the water, because if you do, you will sink and drown. Instead, you relax and float. I like that. One of one. Another really beautiful shot. What came to mind when I saw this was this is a really beautiful underwater photograph. If it's taken underwater, like his feet in some sense don't seem wet. The cloth around him doesn't feel wet. The bubbles don't necessarily look real. Not that I don't like this image at all, but these things come to mind as a photographer. But it's beautiful in a piece of artwork. As a piece of artwork, I find it to be very beautiful and very thought provoking. So I do like this one a lot. And there's this one with H/anger, right? Like hanger. What's that?
Nothing, Mike. Just
Oh,
I was
okay.
just watching the pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. It says it is most beneficial when anger is used to solve a problem rather than just prove a point or vent your emotions. After reading that, it feels like the hangers are put together in a very mathematical way here, like as if they're meant to solve a problem, which is quite interesting. This is really conceptual to me, a very conceptual piece that's been picked up. Beautiful piece. Yeah, this shot unboxed without reading the description or anything. I just looked at it. I don't know, it made me feel as though this person's trapped in their own thoughts, or even possibly that they think inside of a box. But I love the texture and background to it. I don't know if that's a purchased cloth. It actually looks like there's trees back there. It feels like the artist uses a lot of post Photoshop and stuff to give a feel to the images. But I think the color relationship's really beautiful and it's thought provoking. What any of these stand out to you, or what was your initial impression on seeing these, Sabode? Or you're a portrait photographer, so definitely would love to hear from you on some of this. A lot of it's
I
very
think they're just
conceptual.
Yeah, I think they're just stunning, the kind of work that he does, especially the first portrait, and even the touch of adding those textures to make it look painterly. All those things put together, I think he's a terrific photographer and extremely good at Photoshop. It shows the skills. I love each and every image, and the whole thing looks like one artist's work. It's so cohesive. It's like crazy. I truly adore his work. I never knew of his work so far. That's the beauty of AMA.
Yeah, I've talked to him in spaces a few times, and we've complimented him how like beautiful the work he does is. I believe he's a Nigerian photographer, and I'm pretty blown away. Just I hope don't quote me on it, but I believe he is though. I know there's a lot of beautiful like fashion style work that's been coming out of that region. But even this one has just got this beautiful, dreamy, like in the clouds sort of look, and I don't even know how it's created, but very, very well done. What was the artist's questions?
Yeah, let me just check that. 1 second. Okay. He's Toby, right?
This is Toby.
Yeah. His first question is, are my pieces well curated?
Yes, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Does
Next
it feel? It
is,
feels like it's.
yeah,
Yeah, let's say it feels like it comes from the same photographer, and it's conceptual portraiture for the most part, so it does feel well curated.
so true. Next is, I'm a consistent artist, but I mint all the time because I want my previous minted piece to sell first. I didn't understand that. I'm a consistent artist, but I mint all the time because I want my previous minted piece to sell first. And I have heard a lot of people say too much piece minted is not good. Please, what's your advice on that?
I mean, from what I could understand from that, don't over mint. I don't think minting is good. I don't think it's good at all, especially in a bear market. It's probably the worst thing you could do. I think just like mint the best pieces that speak well together. And what do you have here? Five? No, six images here. This is perfect. You know, 5 images right now. Even 3 is really good right now. Even if you took 3. Minting more, I disagree with anyone who says that, especially in a bear market. In any market, I disagree with that. Like, why not mint less, but have it in the description that after the ones that sell, you will continue to add to this body of work until it reaches a certain number. Like, why give yourself more stress than you have to? Why give people a menu that has more on the menu than they care to read? Like, if I put this into perspective, like if I go to a restaurant and it's a really fantastic restaurant, and they have a menu that has 15 items, it's so much easier for me to figure out what I want and pick if they're all beautifully curated dishes than if they have a menu like when you go into a diner and it's 6 pages and you know the 20 or 30% of the stuff is not really that good because they don't even have the ingredients for it. I think less is more. I think when it comes to art, I think this curation, I think it's the same. I think it's the same. I mean, unless you're curating a gallery and you have a certain amount of pieces to curate that gallery, when you're selling work, I would definitely provide less options and the highest quality options, and I would definitely run that through the eyes of some people that you trust, so you could create a small collection.
So true. I totally agree. Exactly what Apple does. There's a lot we can learn from such companies. They release just one kind of or two kind of phone. Well, Samsung does 1,000 kinds of phones, but Apple is the one who makes all the sales because there's respect, there's quality, there's less lack of confusion because you know exactly what to expect when you go to Apple store. So it's a similar thing here. The clarity comes with step-by-step approach rather than overloading on every blockchain and every platform, and it just confuses the market. So you need to create
Yeah.
that signature, who you are exactly and what's your quality. That
Sim-
consistency of minting is very, very important in my opinion too.
Simplify it, make it the best. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And even if you're releasing big quantity, like Mike has 100 images coming out, it's been running. It's a big quantity, but it's well planned, well thought through. All the backend is done. So those homeworks are very, very important. You need to know who are the people around you, how many characters you know. You need to plan it out. If you're releasing big, you better have a plan. Otherwise, it's a huge stock sitting there and just waiting and creating the pressure more or less. More importantly, yeah, the burnout which we talk about comes with that oversupply.
Absolutely. Was there
Yeah, I
any other
think those
questions?
that's his questions. That's it.
No, phenomenal artist. Yeah, really, really, really beautiful work. And I don't have anything else before that. I think, yeah, I love it. I stick with this style. It's totally Toby D. We know who it is when we see it. It's very conceptual. It's very thought provoking. It's very beautiful. It's very dramatic. It's all of those things. Less is more. Stick to small collections like this. I like that a lot.
And even if you look at the cover, if you look at the profile picture with the GIF running through, everything is so well done. It's well thought through. I like it.
Yep, there's a lot of thought that's going into it for this artist before they hit mint, before they send out the tweet. It looks perfect. It's collectors really look at this stuff. Definitely collectors really look at that stuff. Awesome.
Totally.
Cool. I think there's one more collection left. Like I said, my phone did die. Let me take a look here, because I think this is the last collection. Is just Nairobi Towers by Zalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the last one. So open it up. Nairobi Towers. So one thing, obviously, we were just talking about like a really beautiful banner. There's no banner here. There's no cover image, which there probably should be because there's only one image in here. There's no description. So like, those are three things. Like you already have homework for three things, right? So description, banner, main image. Let's click open the piece. The piece is beautiful and it's really surreal. It's really strange and the composition is really interesting too. Well, I mean, you don't really see a giraffe in the city, so it's definitely different and it's definitely rare. So I think it's beautiful, and I think even the giraffe's expression, even though it's not really creating expression with its mouth, but it's in the eyes. It's like, I don't know. There's some oddness to it. It's quite beautiful. And then if you go and read into the description, it's actually a national park. It's Nairobi National Park is one of the where you can see wildlife in its natural habitat in a city. Nairobi Towers emphasizes the fact that we can coexist with nature in a mutually beneficial manner without harming it. Now, I have no idea about Nairobi National Park, and it says that this is their description about. It sounds like Nairobi Towers says this, that we can coexist with nature in a mutually beneficial manner without harming it. I would love to know your opinion on that, Subodh. And do you know about? I'm sure you know about this place in Nairobi Towers. And is it set up that these animals are like within the city? Or are they trapped in a space where they can't get into the city, but they're in a zoo? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it is a national park, of course, and yes, he's right. They do coexist. Doesn't mean they come on the roads. There is a barrier, of course, and humans are separated from the animals. They have a good enough space to hang around. There are lions and there's giraffes and zebras and whatever. So it's a beautiful place. Yeah, there's a beautiful contrast happening with the skyline in the background and the giraffes and etc. in the foreground. I love the thought process, but seen enough images from this place because wildlife photography. So my only thing is, is from, I think, Kenya itself. He's from Nairobi. It's his backyard, and he can go again and again. The picture, which will really stand out. But in this case, for me, it just felt a little empty because the giraffe is cornered on the right, the tower is cornered on the left. It could have been better, actually speaking. Maybe a bit wide angle, maybe a bit
If you step
zooming
back a
out.
few
Yeah,
steps,
exactly.
right?
And just playing with the juxtaposition, you can always create that juxtaposition because giraffe is tall and the Nairobi Tower in the background is the tallest building they have. So it could have been juxtaposed in such a way that there's some correlation happening between these two. For me, this feels a straightforward image. Like tomorrow, if we go there, maybe you can repeat this. And when you have that repeat value, for me, the image is usually not as attractive as something where you created a moment which is truly incredible and it can't be repeated again. So maybe, just imagine that tower in center of the frame and this giraffe on one side and another giraffe facing this giraffe, and between that you juxtapose the building or anything of that kind. It could have been a little bit worked on, is what I feel. I love this place, I love the image, I love wildlife photography, but I feel this image was yet to happen. Maybe in the next 2 minutes, there would be something else which could complete the image. Maybe stepping back, maybe a bit wider angle. There could be 100 things. Maybe the giraffe would talk to its baby. You never know what happens in that 2 minutes. Yeah. So I think there was a possibility to improve on this.
What does it look like if you step back a few feet from here? And what does it look like if you have the giraffe's legs in the image? Do you now have a gate, like a gate and stuff in the image as well? Is there, like, obviously there's a gate that separates them from being able to leave, right?
No, that you won't see because the gates are in the far corner. So even if you step back skyline would open up. It's a beautiful skyline actually. It has a lot of buildings, and then there are these giraffes, and it could have been done in many possible ways. I'm sure Zolz knows because he's from that place, and anyone who's in wildlife would have seen a number of images from this place. So there's enough ideas to play around with. So for me, the only thing is that the two elements of this image are so cornered, and between there's no X factor happening. If there's something in between happening, maybe a bunch of birds flying or whatever it could be, that gap is what creates that kind of a loose composition, in my opinion.
I see what you're saying for sure. That if you could come back a bit, or even if two giraffes were playing within the scene or something like that. But I'm really I'm really interested in this place now. Like I got to go online after this one.
Oh, you need to
charge my phone and look at this because I want to go there so bad because I love the contrast between the buildings and the animals. Like I just can imagine myself there with a camera, like trying to create something truly storytelling between man and nature. It's like, yeah, it sounds like a really cool place, man. Where is it?
Yeah,
located?
I mean, it's in Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. Also, one more thing is, these giraffes always attract birds. They come and birds use giraffe as a Airbnb. They just sit on them and they travel the place. So at one point, giraffe will get annoyed and it will shake its neck and all the birds fly away. That could be the moment that gap could have been filled with birds, or many things could happen. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, all the birds would be flying all around this. I see what you're saying. It's a patience thing, maybe more of a. I mean, you know that now because you've been shooting these animals for so long, or even just shooting street. You learn that if you see an interesting corner and there's stuff happening. The difference between staying on that corner for like a minute or two and taking a shot versus like staying on that corner for like 15 to 30 minutes could be the difference between like a shot that makes it in a magazine versus a shot that you're just gonna skip in your Lightroom and flag it, right? Like it's the patience part is huge. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
what was the questions that were from the artist?
Let me just quickly check. Zolz, here it is. What are some of the best ways to get your work before more eyeballs? How to promote it? That's the question. And the second question is, how much does scarcity matter in Web3, in your opinion?
I'll answer the
First
first.
is how to get exposed to more people, and second is how much does scarcity matter?
I'm going to answer the second one first. Scarcity, I don't think it matters as much as it should yet. I think it's going to matter a lot more than it is now. I think that we're really early right now, and that scarcity is going to play a much bigger role down the line as more serious collectors from the traditional art space move into this space. They're going to come in here and they're going to see collections of 1,000 and they're going to just look the other way. Like scare. Like I would consider. I mean, I would say that you'd have to be like a really ultra big and well known artist to create editions that are like between 300 and 1,000 that you see sometimes regularly being done on the project right now from artists that are maybe well known on Twitter, but they're not they're not Salvador Dali, they're not Picasso, they're not so it's I think scarcity is important. That's why most of my work is either just one of ones or most of my editions are 10. So yeah, I think the space is really young, and I think the space is really immature. And I think some people click on things and just buy them too, without even looking at how many editions there. I think there's plenty of that going on, but I think it's really important. How do you feel, Sabot, about that?
Totally agree to everything that is said.
Yeah,
you covered it well.
What was the first question?
The first question is how to get in front of more eyes, how to bring the work to more people.
Look at their pinned tweet. October 20th. And Ruby Towers emphasizes the fact that we can coexist with nature, and it's one of ones on its own smart contract. There is a bidders edition to all bidders. I'm just trying to look at their media. So the media is their post.
Look
here's
at
some,
that, Mike. Can you just open those
of
giraffe
course,
images? Next image.
of course,
There you
yeah,
see
yeah.
there it
Whoa.
is.
Oh, so I see. Yeah.
Now
So,
it needs composition. That's all. Yeah, you just need to play with that scene.
but I see what you mean by there being a lot more opportunity for juxtaposition.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see you sharing. Well, I mean, maybe you are. Let's see. Let me get out of media. Go to tweets. Okay. So definitely sharing other people's work. I see all of that. Yeah, I mean, we usually talk about spaces, right? Spaces being a really good place to meet people. Spaces is not for everyone, but it's a good idea to get in there and listen to the spaces where at least people talk about their work, have an idea about what your work's about. I think you have an idea sort of about what your work is about. Try to become more comfortable with getting up on the microphone and just saying hi to people. Thinking of it as just a conversation rather than you being put on the spot. And see, a lot of people, they definitely talk about their work, and a lot of work does sell within spaces. And Sabot will tell you, it does spaces more than anyone. So I would say that's one of the biggest thing. The other thing is, talking about your work in a way that's kind of not shilling, but like posting a picture of your work, saying GM, and talking about what that shot meant to you, or like what you're doing on that day, kind of bringing a human aspect into it to things. I mean, there's some things that I do. Finding out what it is in the space of Web3 outside of just being an artist, like what are your qualities that you could bring to Web3 to try to help the space. So for Sabot, I'm sure he recognized that his communication is a good one for him, and he has a lot of experience in photography. So his spaces revolve a lot around experience, and then also what's going on in Web3. For me, it was curation, which I think Sabot is also really good at. Curation. I went to art school, so I have that background and ability to be able to talk about art, art that I think is really compelling, and also art that needs constructive criticism. So, this is how we grew in the space, in a sense. It's like we identified areas that needed help, and then we dedicate our time to helping those areas within space. And I think through that brings more eyes onto you. I think also, collecting too. I mean, like we both collect as well. So like collecting other people's work sort of shows that you believe in the ecosystem in Web3 as well. It's just sort of being here, showing up, and being honest in your intentions and like who you are. I mean, that's the best advice I could really give.
Yeah, just to add to that, if you go to the pin tweet right now, there is a direct link of foundation. What happens with this is if someone wants to quote tweet, Mike, can you just try to quote tweet this?
Yeah, it's not going to show it. See?
Yeah, right
Can't
now
see
your
it.
exposure is gone. Yeah, you don't know what image we're talking about. So that's why, never post that direct link. Always make a poster, use that picture, put that Nairobi Towers as some kind of make a design out of it and just present it as an image and add the link to it. For instance, if you go to mine,
Yeah, I'm going to yours now. I was going to say I was going to
yeah,
go to quote tweet. Well, let me retweet this first, because I didn't even you just posted this recently. I was away on vacation. If I go to quote tweet this, look at that.
yeah.
Like it has all the imagery and everything in here, and now I could sit up here and I could say something compelling about the work, that how I feel about the work. And so
Yeah,
that's
and
great advice.
most importantly, present it. Yeah, like you can look at Mike's poster works. I'm always refer to that, and I learn from that. My style is almost like what I look at Mike's example before I create my posters. So present it beautifully. Add that title. If you look at when I started promoting this work, which I'm trying to sell, I did a poster work many times. Different posters for all the images, and you create that buzz. And every time someone quote tweets you or retweets you, it's all about presentation. I won't say that presentation is the only thing which will sell an image, but that's also important. It's like, again, I'll go back to Apple. I'll go back to Steve Jobs. He always says, when you make an Apple computer, if you open a Apple MacBook Pro inside, it's very well organized. It looks like an art piece inside. Not because someone is gonna see that, just because it feels right. That's all it is. So present it beautifully. That's the first step, and reach will come. And you already have 7,000 followers, which is a good number of followers. It's now
Yeah, it is.
about engagement, yeah, through spaces, through helping each other out, and yeah, it's an organic way to do it.
Dude, you went from 0 followers to 17.6K in a year, huh? Less than a year?
Yeah, since
Oh my
February.
gosh. That's hard work. That's a lot. That was fast. That's
No
awesome.
shortcuts.
No shortcuts really, right? But yeah, so I mean that's it. That's the last collection, right? Yeah, I think that about concludes it. What's 4:30? It's a long one. I think we did 3.5 hours, and I think this was a really awesome session. Some really fantastic work, but outside of just fantastic work, I mean, we had really good questions from the members that are part of the AMA, and we had some participation from people. So a really great one. This is one for the books where I would tell people to definitely go back and listen to that audio recording because when I
And Mike,
said, yeah, go ahead.
can you just click on you saw this new feature on Sloika, V1 Spatial? Can you just click on that down there,
Yeah.
next to the
Viewing
yeah.
spatial. I haven't looked at this yet.
They,
Is it in
they
a
got this
gallery or
beautiful.
something?
Yeah, everyone gets their own spatial once you mention.
Yes. Oh wow.
Look at
This.
this. It's all automated.
It's all automated.
Yeah, even if you don't click anything, it will just show you the whole gallery.
I love it.
And everyone has different gallery. Yeah, this guy has this outdoor. Maybe some other collection will have something else. If you can go
Cool.
to the next collection with Govind.
Wow.
With the desert scape. Yeah, it's really cool how they present here. If you do view on special, the second one. Second one.
This one, but there's only
Yeah,
one photo.
yeah.
Only one
Still,
photo.
they have a special. Yeah.
Oh, they have a spatial photo.
Yeah, they have a different theme here. Because it's a desert, they put it in the desert.
They have it cropped how we wanted it.
It's crazy, yeah.
Oh, so it's in a desert too. Wow.
Yeah.
Dude,
The
too
previous
bad
one was
my
wild.
too bad my ENS name wasn't spatial with a T, because then these people would have to buy it. It's spatial with a C. There's two ways to spell it. There's two ways to spell it. They must have had it first. Boy. I want to see this is foundation, so we can't see
All
the spatial.
foundations.
Yeah. Lots of foundations. But yeah, anyway, thank you, Sabode, for giving your time. And yeah, this has been an awesome space. I'm probably gonna go back and listen to this just to just because I learned so much from it. And yeah, I think Goon, if you're here, or maybe Jaden, do they have is there a co-out for today's attendance?
Yeah, I just posted it.
Thanks, Goon. Thank you so much always for keeping this thing running, and you guys for keeping the discords and all that. Discords and all that. Maybe it's really important. And of course, always MetaJungle for they were here before me and you, Soul, right? And, because of them, we know each other, and because of them, we're creating waves. Who gave us that platform, the confidence, etc., to have these AMAs. So Yeah, once again, a wonderful AMA, and this is definitely one for the books. So I love having you guys, and I'm going to read this chat once it's over. But I guess that's it. I guess if no one has anything else, then
Yeah, thank you both for spending so much time. We really appreciate it, and I know everyone in the community does as well. So I want to thank you guys, and thanks everyone for attending. If you don't know, we have these little POAP NFT collectibles that you can claim, and you just click on them. You can download the app on your phone if you want, but just click on one of the links and you can get one.
cool, awesome. With that, guys, I'm gonna end it in 3, 2, 1, and I'll
Bye,
thank
everyone.
you guys so much.
Bye.